So we are live. So hello everyone, welcome back to Geeks for Geeks. Here I am once again. So my name is Muskan Agarwal, and here with we are with yet another very interesting webinar. So we have a very special guest with us who have in-hand experience of 4 years and with a web developer, and we are going to develop a React app live. So I think this is a great opportunity. So I will suggest you to make the app side by side, and by the end of the webinar you will have your own React app with you. So what's better than that, right? So I will add my guest Prakash to the stream really quickly, but before that, can you just confirm me in the comment section if I'm perfectly visible and audible? Just give me a thumbs up in the comment section so that I'll know that I'm perfectly visible and audible, and then we will quickly start with the stream. I'm looking at the comment section. Just give me a thumbs up there. Okay, thank you, Shivkan. Thank you, Pintu. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Vivek, for acknowledging. Guys, you can also ask your friends to join the stream, and then once we have few more people, I will start the webinar. I think React is one of the most used JavaScript library, and it is there in demand, and it is used by most of the companies, whether it be startups or well-established companies. So yes, I think this is an opportunity that you should not afford to miss. So get your laptops ready and get ready to make a React app of your own. So I can add Prakash to the stream now. Hi Prakash, how are you doing?
I am good. How are you, Muskan?
I am good as well. So I can already see a lot of people who are there in the live. So are you excited about this webinar?
I am. I am very excited about the webinar. I can see a lot of people joining, a lot of thumbs up, and a lot of people.
Yes,
So glad to see a lot of people turn up.
exactly. So we can quickly start with the webinar because already there are 98 people. But before that, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself so that they can connect with you better?
Right. So as you can see, my name is Prakash Sakari. I work as a mentor at Geeks for Geeks. I have more than 4.5 years of experience in the tech field where earlier I used to teach robotics, and then I started teaching AIML, and now I'm teaching web development. So it's been a lot of different domains I've worked onto, and this is the field I'm currently liking, and that's why I'm teaching it. My area of interest mostly is front end development. It's totally about React, JavaScript, and I do not like backend that much, but then too you have to do backend as well. So backend I prefer
Yeah.
Node.js and MongoDB, and yeah, I'm trained. I don't even remember like more than 30-40,000 students all across India, US, UK, and a lot of other countries and schools and colleges as well. So yeah, that's about me, and let's get started.
Yes, definitely. Let's get started. So, guys, I hope you have your laptops ready. And now I will take leave. And Prakash, from here on, you can take.
Okay. So, hi everyone. I can see a couple of questions. One of the question is by Tech RR. He says, "Will this be from scratch?" Yes, this will be from scratch. And one of the question is, "Will you guys start from the very beginning?" Because I don't know React, so I'm not going to teach the basics of React. To be very clear, because I assume that you will. But even if you stick through the end, you will basically understand how React is working. Because the way I generally teach is, even if I write something, I basically give the crux and background as well. So there are two things that you need to do. Is first thing is in the description of the video, there is something called as the starter code, right? Let me just check what is written. So it says download starter code from here. So if you go on to the link, right, you will come over here. So let me just share my screen and let me know if the screen is visible. Okay. Share screen. Share screen. Um, yeah, the entire screen. Okay. Is the screen visible? I think this would be visible. So what you have to do basically is you have to In the description, you'll find the link. So it will take you to this link. This is called as React Ecom, right? What you have to do basically is you just have to clone this repository. How do you clone this repository? You click on code and click on it, and then you can open this on VS Code. Okay, so you should have VS Code. If you do not have VS Code, do not worry. What you can do is you can just go into Code Sandbox. Okay, I will put this link in the chat as well. So what you can do is you can go on to Code Sandbox, and in the Code Sandbox you can use React app. So let me. I do not know whether I can add a comment or not. Uh, no, I can't add any comment over here. So what you can basically do is you can just go on to Code Sandbox and then choose a React app. So for now, what I can do is create and then create a React app, right? And you can work on this React app if you do not have VS Code. But if you have VS Code, then it would be much better for you to code along with me. Okay. So see, there are two ways in which you can do this webinar, right? So we start at 7. It will roughly take around 2 hours. So it will go up to 9 o'clock, right? You can do it in two ways. You can either watch the entire stream, take notes, right, and then try to code on your own, right? This is the way I tell most of the students to do. Now why do I say this is because when you are actually writing with me, your learning is, it's basically like almost copying whatever I'm doing. But when you pay attention, right, and then you take notes, then later on when you try to write it on your own, it's basically testing your muscle power, your memory power, muscle memory power, how much you remembered it, and the points and how much you understood it. And then if you're stuck later on, then you can again come back and watch the stream again. So my advice to you would be just watch the stream, make notes, and then you can write things on your own. Okay. Secondly, what you can also do is okay, now you can also fork this repository, or you can also star this repository if cool. So, and we will be basically using this component library. So this is the link I'll add it in the chat as well. So this link you can write UI.netlify.app. If I click on get started, so there are a lot of pre-written components that I've already done over here. So this is like Bootstrap. So if you heard of what Bootstrap is, you basically get HTML, CSS done already. You just have to write your own logic, right? So since making anything in 3 hours is actually 2 to 3 hours is not that easy. So that's why I'll be basically avoiding the HTML part, and some of the HTML parts we'll be adding. Okay, if I go on to card, so this is the card that we will be using, right? And I'll be adding a lot of parts to this as well. So if we should get started, just give a thumbs up, right? If you're there with me. Uh, okay. How to clone? Okay, cool. So there are a few questions. Um, uh, can you send the React code sandbox link once the project is finished? Yes, I will send all the links once the project is finished. Because see, on this link, I'm going to add everything, right?
Okay, I was mute. Really sorry about that. So I think there are some network glitches. So by the time he's joining us, you can post all your questions if you have any in the comment section, and as soon as he comes, we can take those questions. Okay. People are saying that there is no sound. Okay, I was mute earlier. Am I audible now? Yes, I am audible now. Just give us 2 more minutes and he will join us really soon. Yes. Can we get the backend part of the e-commerce website? So I'm not really sure about that, like what exactly will be the thing, but all the relevant links would be there in the description box below. And if they're not there, you can just put it out in the comment section, and we will definitely try to put all the relevant links that are not there in the description box itself. Yes. Should we get the recorded session? Ayan is asking. So, yes, right now it is live. But once the session ends, like as Prakash told, that it will almost take 2 hours. So, we will post the recorded session. The whole recorded session would be there on our YouTube channel. You can refer it later on as well, as he was saying that, if you like, first you should listen to it properly, and then later on you should, understand and then code it yourself. So basically, yes, the recorded session would be there. Uh, yeah. By the time he's coming, if you guys have any other questions related to React or something that I would be able to answer, I'd love to answer them, because even I have worked with React in my past internship and in my college. So if I can answer, I'd love to answer them. Related to app, so I think Prakash would be the better person, because I saw one question that is this from Shubhakar, that is this a CRUD application tutorial or only front end? So I think it is just front end, because as he mentioned that he will be teaching React and all about that. But I think Prakash would be the better person to answer this. So yes, we will wait for him to join, and then I'll definitely ask this question from him. So Nicholas asked from which college I am. I am from VIT Vellore. How much time would one need to get a hold on React? Okay, I think this does not have any right or wrong answer. I think as much as you practice, I think it is endless. So yes, like as much as you can practice. So yeah, I think doing internships or working on some real life projects are the best way to practice something or get to know some tech. I think it works perfectly for me. So yeah, so maybe you can also follow that. What are the prerequisites of working with React, JavaScript, I think, and you can also work with TypeScript. Like a lot of companies are preferring TypeScript these days, so it is not very different from JavaScript. If you know JavaScript, I think that TypeScript would be really easy for you to learn. So yes, preferably you should work with TypeScript. How can we find the real life projects for web development? Okay, so at Geeks for Geeks we have this dedicated video, in which we have discussed about these web development projects that a beginner can take in order to, if you are just starting with React, or if you're just starting with your web development journey. So you can definitely check them out. There are a lot of beginner friendly projects. Maybe you can just design a simple website. For example, my first project I remember was, I was a part of a club, and I just made a simple static website in which I just added the details of the event that was happening in my club. So it was a simple static website, but yeah, so you can start with anything. It need not be a very big project, or it is not necessary that it should have a backend as well. Like if you're just a front end developer and you just want to practice React, it is good. Like you can just make a simple static website and you're good to go. Okay, Abhishek is asked, where can I do React internship? So there are a lot of companies that are hiring for React developers. Like React is one of the most in-demand skills that is there today, and we at Geeks for Geeks also are do jobathons in which a lot of companies come. You can apply for them, and most of the companies hire JavaScript developers, so you can apply. I mean, like there are a lot of opportunities. You can just see on LinkedIn, and if you see there is someone hiring, so you can just message them or ask them if there is any opportunity or opening in their company. So this is how you can do. Okay, people are asking about the concepts in React, like what are the various components. So there are a lot of things to learn in React, like class components, functional components, then there is hooks, then there is life cycle, like there is a lot of stuff, and it comes with practice. Okay, so it is not like you just read some books or watch a particular video on those. It will only come when you will practice it and do it yourself. So yes, there are a lot of concepts, and I think the React's official website is a great way where you can just read it well, because it is properly documented. At least I learned it from there, and there are little mini projects also that they ask you to do side by side. So you can just have a look at them. Okay. Nikhil has asked that what should be the best resource to learn React from basics. So we also have a course on React where we are teaching from basics. So you can follow that, but it is not necessary. Like you should see a course that works best for you. For example, if there's some course that works best for me, might not work for you. So just see different courses, but then just follow one till the end. Do not keep hopping to different courses, right? And you're not finishing even one. So just see which course fits for you, and then just follow it till the end. People are asking how they can connect with me. You guys can connect with me on LinkedIn. Like, yeah. Okay. Can you show us a small project and describe it? I am not really sure if I can show it right now, but small project can be a static website. You can just make a website, maybe a simple portfolio you guys can make, in which you are telling about yourself and what do you do and what all projects have you done, like what are your contact details. It is a very simple static website, maybe a one page website from React. And a small project, Prakash will be joining us soon. He'll be making a React app, right? So as he mentioned that you should watch the video right now, and later on you can just follow it to make a small React project of your own. So I think yes, that is a great way. When will the program start? Like even I'm waiting for Prakash. As soon as I'm trying to contact him. I think there are some network issues in his area, so he will join us really soon. Yes, Prakash has joined us. Hey, hi. What will be the prerequisite? I think JavaScript or TypeScript, whatever you want to learn first. Okay. Riddhi has asked that which language do I prefer for backend. So I have worked closely with Java Spring Boot. So yeah, yes, I'll add Prakash to this. Hey, hi.
Hi, hi.
Yeah,
Am I audible?
can we start? Yeah, yeah, you're audible.
Yeah,
You're audible.
I'm very sorry.
There are a lot of no, no problem, no problem. I just thought of taking some question that I was able to answer, so I just took few of them, and few of them I was not able to answer. So I told them that when you will join, we'll ask you.
Okay, okay. There are a few things I wanted to add in the chat. Can you do that for me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'll send a link in the chat. Let me know. This is one link, and this is the other link.
Am I audible, Prakash?
Yeah, yeah, you are audible. Am I audible?
Y- Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got the links. I'll just add them in the comment section. Yeah.
Yeah, please add them in the comment section.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I've added it. Okay, can we start?
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So, so I've turned off my video, everyone, just because I'm using mobile hotspot now because it's raining in Noida and the internet is going off again and again. Uh, so that's it. So, Prakash Sagar so the question is UI Lite mobile responsive? Yes, it is. Two, three screens. Okay. Uh, okay, so how to use it? I'll show that to you how to use that as well. And I'm very sorry for keeping you waiting. I respect everyone's time. It's not that I do not respect your time because but it's raining a lot in Noida, and that's why it's basically the light is going on and off, and internet is also going on and off. And so let's get started, and then I will take your questions as well in the meanwhile. Okay. So I will share my screen with you all, right? Okay. Okay. So is the screen visible? Just let me know if the screen is visible. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do over here basically is, so we are going to make something like this, right? So this I had already made it previously, but we won't be making something like the what you say, these clothing thing, but I'll basically be making something like a book cart. So if you click on add to cart, it will take you to the cart, right? You can increase the number of items in the cart, and if you see, this also keeps on increasing, right? And if you click on this as well, so there will be two products in the cart, and you can do a lot of things. You can, if you click on save for later, it will come somewhere over here, right? It's almost it's taken as an inspiration from Flipkart, right? And I don't know whether I've done anything for place order or not, but these are the things that we'll be doing. And then you can also sort it from the price as well and all the things, right? Our major focus would be creating this product page and creating this cart page, right? This item in the cart, and then uh, this price component, right, which you can see on the right hand side, and increasing and decreasing the number of items. This would basically be our major task for the day. Okay, this would roughly take us around 2 hours to do it. So if you basically want to do this yours, right? In the public, basically you'll have find a data.json. So I've already created a JSON file over here, which basically has some data, right? It's a JSON file. It's not a JSON file. It's not a Java file. So whenever we use a JSON file, right, we basically add it into public folder. Okay, so we can basically then use promises over them and basically get the data. So what I'm going to do is, so the first thing is how to use how to clone a repository. So to clone a repository, the steps are very simple. You go on to any GitHub repository, you click on code, and then you click over here, right? You click on this link if you see over here, right? You click over here, it will get copied. Then what you can do is open VS Code. So I'll go to terminal, new terminal, and I will just it's basically simply going to write git clone and paste it over here. Okay. Uh, okay. So this is basically what I'm actually going to do over here. So I'm just going to do git clone and paste it over here. So the moment I paste it, if I press enter, so it will clone the entire repository, right? So the repository is cloned basically means everything is downloaded. Now what I can do is I can go on file and then click on open folder and get it. So if I go to documents, it should be by this name. So it will create a folder called as React e-commerce app, right? If you can see this over here, right? Let me just increase the size if you can't see it. So it will create a folder called as React e-commerce app, right? Open folder, go into documents. Since I've cloned it on documents, and just find for this React e-commerce app, and I'll select this folder. Okay, cool. So now if you see, I basically have it over here, the entire React file, the public folder, right? And then in the source as well, I have everything. In order to run a React app in VS Code, you just have to write npm start, right? But if I write npm start, right? Uh, okay, is the voice still breaking? Just let me know in the chat if the voice is still breaking. Then I will do something out of it. Okay. Okay. Uh, Voice is resounding. No. Someone says yes, someone says no. Uh, okay. So if I just do npm start over here and then press enter, so if you see, it will basically show it basically gives an error which says React script is not recognized as an internal external command. Whenever you clone a repository from GitHub, you basically, especially a React repository, you have to install the package. So I will write npm install. npm basically means node package manager, right? So you can write npm install or you can also write npm I. The meaning is one and the same, right? Because whenever you create a React app, you basically write npm install or npm I, something like that. So then you basically get this, and then you can create your React app. That's how basically it works. So this will basically take some time, right? In the meanwhile, okay. So yes, this is the UI that we are basically trying to make. If you can see a soul over here, right? Not completely like this. So what I generally do is I take a lot of UI as a reference and then make something of my own. Okay. Um in the meanwhile, I'll basically take some questions. Um okay. React or Angular. So there is one question which says React or Angular, which one is more better to start front end with? So React is way better, right? It's not. I'm not saying it's because I'm teaching it, and since I'm teaching it, it's understandable that React is much better. And Angular, people are not using much these days, but people are using React a lot. Um, what is the second question is, what is the prerequisite for a beginner to start with React? JavaScript. Oh, if you have good knowledge JavaScript, then you can do React easily. Otherwise, you will be stuck a lot. Okay. Okay. Cool. So have you used? So there is one question for the component library. Have you used? So I've used Flexbox over here. I've not used Grid. So majorly I go with Flexbox, and I majorly do not go a lot with Grid. Okay. Do not know why this is taking so much time. I think this is majorly because of the internet. It's taking so much time. Okay. Is there any software requirement to get installed for React app? Nikhil Agarwal is asking. So there is no software requirement. You just the only software that we use is VS Code. So you can do use VS Code to do that. Do so. There is one question from Prem which says, "Do I need to know HTML, CSS?" Yes, absolutely. You are making a front end, so you have to have knowledge of HTML, CSS, right? Will you implement infinite scroll? See, I won't implement infinite scroll, but implementing that is not a big task. You can use an infinite scroll component. I'll show you. Just remind me at the end of the class. Uh, so you can do that. Where am I hosting this? I'm hosting it. Okay, let me just add where am I hosting it. Uh, I have hosted it on somewhere called as Apparel Cart. Okay, let me just add the link from my other laptop. Just give me a second. Scene code Flipkart app. Apparel Cart. Okay. So this is where. So if you see the link I've added by my name Prakash Sakari is Apparel Cart. I've added it over there. No, I won't be doing Redux. I'll be using Context API to do that. Okay. So the question is, um, how to start development? What are the prerequisites? So to start development is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's the prerequisite. Nothing else. Okay, so let's get started in this case also. What I'm going to do over here is first I'm basically going to create a navigation bar, right? So if you see over here, we have a navigation bar which has two things, home and cart. So first let's create a navigation bar. So what I'm going to do is, so just understand the folder structure also, right? Yes, we will be using Axios to do this thing. Okay. Okay. Where is the link? Which link do you all want? So I'll put all the link once and for all again, right? And cool. So just give me a second. I'm adding all the links again. If you because if you have to scroll a lot up in order to get the link. So this is one link that you have to clone. This is a repository that you have to clone, right? Uh, the second is this link which we will be using to design our website. Okay. Why not use regular fetch API? We'll discuss that as well. Okay. Okay, the hosting one. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, this is the reference link for the hosting one as well. Okay, cool. So just understand the folder structure also. So when basically we are creating a React app, we basically create something called as components. Why we create components? So that it can be used into different pages as well. So basically you have an e-commerce app, right? So you basically what's you have multiple pages. You have a home page. You will have a product listing page. You will have cart page. You will have a wish list page, right? And there will be many other pages also, a 404 page as well. So every page will have a navigation bar, right? Now since every page will have a navigation bar, right, it's also important. So since every page is going to have a navigation bar, what we generally do in JavaScript is on every HTML page we basically write the same code, right? That is what we do in JavaScript. But to avoid that problem, what did we do is we created something called as React, which uses component. You create one single component of for a navigation bar, and then you can reuse it on every single page. That is what is the concept of components, right? So I'll just create a component called as Nav Bar. So what I'm going to do is in the source folder. So all of these things, creating component pages, we do it on the source folder. So over here I'll create a folder called as components, right? And in this I'll create a folder called as navbar, right? And then in the navbar I'm basically going to create navbar.jsx. Okay. So JSX basically means a JavaScript syntax extension, right? And I'll create something called as navbar.css also. Okay. So, and what I'm going to do is over here, I have to create a function, right? What is component? Component is nothing but a function. So I'll just write export const, okay, or I'll just simply write over here const. The name of the function would be navbar, right? And basically we'll be using an arrow function, right? Which basically would return a markup. So this is what a simple component actually is, right? So this is how component will always look like. This basically is nothing but an arrow function. So if you have done JavaScript, then you know what is an arrow function. So see, there's no difference between JSX and JS, right? As far as I do is, and I understand, it's basically segregating some between a page and between a component. So whenever we're creating a component, we always write JSX. Whenever we create a page, we always write JS. That's the difference. But if even if you write navbar.js, nothing will change, right? Every JavaScript functionality will work with JSX and JS both. Cool. So now what it has to return, it will return a navbar. So I've already done the code on this over here. So if you go to this UI Lite, right, the link that I've added over there, and then if you go onto UI Lite, you basically come somewhere over here, right? It will show you a page something like this. Right. It will show you a home page something like this. You just have to click on get started, right? Uh, and then on get started, you can see a lot of components. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this card. We'll click on card. No, we have to get the nav bar, so we'll click on navigation. So on the left hand side, you'll get a lot of things. What you simply have to do is copy this code. Right? Click over here and copy this code. Once you copy this code, in the return, what we are going to do is just paste this code over here. Right? So I have added this code over here. Now, once you do this thing, so what will happen basically is, okay, it will give you this error for this image. So just remove this image tag. Because why does it give an error? Because in React, whenever there is a self-closing tag, you just have to put this / and then the error goes away, right? But since not using image, you'll just remove it. And then what I'm going to do is over here, instead of the page title, let's just give, since I'm going to make a React app which will always give, which will show books as a product page. So over here, I'll basically write the name, which will be Butterfly Books. This is the name that I've thought of, and I also do not require a link tag and a tag. Why I don't require an a tag is because see in okay, let's first get off this thing. Let's just write over here the h1 only, and then we'll discuss about the tags as well. Okay. And over here, I just want the home and the cart page. So I'll just remove these things and just write home and then cart. That's it. Okay. Now I want to use this component basically on the home page. So what I'm going to do is, in the source, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder called as pages as well. Right? Because I have to create multiple pages, right? So I'll create something called as pages also. And in the pages, what I'm actually going to do is okay. Am I audible? Can you all hear me? Just put in the chat if you all can hear me. Okay, cool. Let's come to navigation bar, right? So I've created something called as pages, and in this page I'll create home page. So I'll just write home over here, right? A folder, and in this home I'll create a file called as home.js and home.css also, right? So if I need CSS, I'll use CSS. Otherwise, I won't use CSS. So I'll create something. I'll just write over here const home is equal to, this will again be a this will again be a function. Okay. So for page also I have to create a function. And so let's say I'll just write h1 over here, and then I'll just say hello. Okay. I want to show this. So in the app.js, I just want to display the home page, right? I just want to display the home page. I'll just write hello geeks something over here, right? Now, initially I'll just make the app.js an empty file, right? And let me just try to again do npm start. I hope this works. Okay, so I have to again install. So I'll just write npmi. It will basically install the package, right? So how does actually React work, and what is basically the flow, right? So for components, you create a folder called as components, and then in every different folder, you create a folder for every component, for navigation bar and for the product page and something like that. And then for pages, you basically create another folder called as pages, right? Something like this. What I've done over here, create a folder called as pages, and then you create different folders for different pages, like home page, and then let's say the card page, and then the wishlist page, and something like that. Now it will open basically a React app, right, which will have nothing in it. Okay, so if you can see over here, it will basically load a React app which will actually have nothing at all over here. So if you can see, the screen is empty. Now what we are going to do is, since the home page basically has hello geeks, and we can't just do hello geeks, we have to also do return h1 and then let's say hello geeks. And then what I have to do is, since I know that in React only this app component, right? So this app component is always rendered, right? Why this app component is rendered? If you go to the index.js, right? If you say it root.render and it renders the app component. Since the app component is going to be rendered, I have to call the home component inside the app.js. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to say export. See the way we call functions, right? You create a function and then you call the function. In the same way over here also, we have created this function, and uh, then what we are going to do is I'm just going to write export. Since I've done export in the app.js, I can do it. I can import it as well. So over here, I'll just write import home, right? From where do I have to import? From, then I have to backtrack. So I have to go into the pages folder. Inside pages, okay. So I have to go to the pages. Inside pages there is home. Inside home there is home, right? The home.js. And then what I'm going to do is inside this div class app, I'm basically going to just call the home component. That's it. So if I save this now, or first of all, I actually do not need this div class, right? App. There's no need of this thing. So I've called my home over here. Now if you go back, if you see, I get hello geeks, right? So what I've actually done is in the home.js, I've basically written hello geeks, and in the app.js where this app component is going to be rendered, I've just called this home.js. Now I have to start making the home page. So if you see in the home page, this is my home page. It has a navigation bar. So the first thing that I have to do is what the navigation bar that I've created, I have to call this in the home page. So to do that, I have to export this nav bar also. So I'll just write over here export and exporting the nav bar. In the home.js, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import it. So over here, I'll just write import the nav bar, right? From where I have to import it, I have to first come out of this folder, right? Go to the components, and in the components there is nav bar. Inside nav bar there is navbar.js. Right? We will resolve this as well, right? Instead of writing these many things, right? We will basically just resolve this thing. Okay. So there's a question which says, okay, what is the meaning of render? Render means to upload something, right? And there is one thing which someone has actually pointed out is very good thing is, so over here in React, generally we do not use class. We use something called as class name, right? So what you have to do is whenever you basically download any component from my component library, you'll always get something called as class. So change this to class name. That's simply as it is what you have to do. That's it. Okay. Great. Now in the home.js, we have imported the nav bar. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to simply write nav bar. That's it. If I save it and then if we go back and check it, so if you see, I have butterfly books and home cart, right? So the navigation bar has come over here. So whatever I've done in the navigation bar, the butterfly books and then the home and the cart, it basically comes over here. But the CSS did not come, right? So how do you get the CSS? To get the CSS, you again basically have to go to this component library, and in the component library on the top you'll see something called as usage, right? So in any component library, be it Bootstrap or Tailwind, you'll always see these things, usage and installation, right? So in the usage, there is a link to import the CSS, and then there is this link where you can add it to the HTML also, right? So generally, what I prefer is to import the CSS. So you click over here, right? Once you click over here, you'll basically get this link, right? So what I have to do then is come onto the app.css, and then paste it over here, right? That's it. Now if I save it and then if I go back, right, now if you see the color is also there, and then home and card and everything is coming, right? And if you see the font has also changed. So I'll just explain once again what I've done is, so initially I didn't have this CSS, right? So what I have to do is I have to go back to this component library and the link I've added in the chat, right? So in over here on the left hand side, you can see something called as usage, right? You click on usage, and then you get an HTML link and a CSS import as well. So you click on the CSS import, right? You copy this, you come back to your code, and in the app.css, right? In the app.css, you paste it, right? Why in the app.css? Because if you see in the app.js, we have it's by default app.css is already imported. So in the app.css, I'll do this thing, and then if I go back, I'll get the color also, right? Now you might also be wanting to change the color also. So how do you change the color, right? So in order to change the color, what you can do is you can go on to the GitHub of this component library, right? And you can go into styles over here, scroll down styles, and in styles you can go into utility CSS, and in utility CSS there is this root, right? So in the root it has these colors. Okay, once again I'll tell you how do you do it, right? uh, from you can go from the component library also to the GitHub, right? You can click back over here, or you can basically come to the home page directly rather than clicking back. uh, you can come to the home page, and on the home page there is the GitHub link also. So you can click on GitHub over here and come to the GitHub. Okay, sorry, you have to find the repository. So the name of the repository is this thing, Light UI Component Library. It's very simple. You can fork it or star it, and then scroll down, you get styles, right? And then in the styles, basically you'll get utility CSS. In utility CSS, you'll get all of these colors, right? So the things, the all the colors that we have to change. So you can just simply copy all of these things, the root, right, and change the color accordingly. So then I'll come back, and over here I'll just put the root, right, and then you can change color to whichever color you want, right, in the root. Okay. A couple of things that we have to add to the body is so I'll just take body, and then in the body I'll just say overflow. I'll just make it auto, right? And overflow X will basically hide it, and overflow Y would be hidden. So the primary color is basically the color of the navigation bar, right? Okay, and then you'll see a lot of colors, text color, primary, and all of these things. So we can change the color also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the primary color this only. Okay, the text color. I'm just basically going to check how does it look. So if I make the primary color the text color, so this is how it actually is going to look. It's a little darker. So what I can do is, so the best way to find colors is basically you go onto Tailwind. This is the best place to find color, tailwind.css, and then you can find your colors from here. So let me take this color. I'll copy this and use this as my navigation, as my primary color. Well, this looks a little better now than the previous one. Or to get a more darker one, I can also take this one. But I think this is the text color itself, I assume. I do not know. Okay, this looks much better now. Okay, so you'll get the colors from your tailwind.css, right? Docs, customizing color, and all of these things. You can get the colors from here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, if you put the link in the app.css, it will affect all the components. Okay, so the reason I put the link in app.css is because uh, the app.css is imported in the app.js, and only the app.js will be rendered. So every page that I create, I'll basically add it over here. So I'll add home page, then basically cart page, and every page basically will add it over here only. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is in the home page, let's basically add some products as well. Okay, so we'll add the products in the home page. So let's do that for now. Okay, so how are we basically going to do that? Okay, so what I'm going to do is in the components, I'll basically create something called as a product card. Okay, and I'll create something called as a product card.jsx, right? And a product card.css, product card.css. Okay. And now let's do this thing. Export const. Okay. Uh, product card is equal to return something. Okay. I hope I'm clearly audible, and it's nothing. There's no issue as of now. Okay. So what I'm going to do is in the product card. So there's no need to write any HTML for the product card also. What you simply have to do is go to the component library again, right? And then in the component library, you will basically see something called as this card, right? And then in the card, you can basically take this vertical card, right? This is the card that we have to use. So you can basically copy this thing, right? Once you copy this thing, you can come and put it over here. Okay. Okay. Uh, and yeah, cool. That's it. For the images, basically, we'll add this thing. Okay, cool. Okay. So few of the images, basically, I don't have any images right now over here. So what I'm basically going to do is I will basically show you how the image actually is working. Okay. Now what I do basically is I have this on the home page, right? What I have to do is in the product card, we have to get the data, right? So basically, Axios and nothing more than that. So for that, what I'm going to do is import user and I have to install Axios over here. I'll set npm I Axios. Okay. So what is Axios? So there's one question which someone said. Uh, so Axios basically used to fetch data from an API, right? And there was someone who asked the question, why aren't we using the regular fetch in order, to get the data? So the reason for not using fetch to get the data basically is, so what does fetch API do is with fetch API you also have to then parse the data or convert the data into JSON, right? So you can use fetch API and then you use dot then and dot catch, right? But then if you remember, you also have to convert the data into JSON as well, right? But with Axios already converts the data into JSON and then gives it to you. So basically, we are actually saving some computation, right, for the browser, that it does not have to need not to convert it into uh, JSON and then get the data, but Axios directly converts the data into JSON. So let's write npm I Axios, right? What is the URL of UI Lite? Okay, so okay, what is the URL of UI Lite? I'll add it once again, Deep Maurya. So this is the URL for UI Lite. Okay. So now I've installed Axios. So I'll just add over here import Axios from Axios. Okay, import Axios from Axios. Now if you see, there are two types of import over here. When I'm importing use effect, I'm basically adding curly braces. But when I'm importing Axios, I'm not adding curly braces. So can anyone tell me the reason behind what I'm doing here? In the meanwhile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the data, right? So I'm going to use effect, and this will basically the callback function. The use effect basically takes the callback function. This is the callback function. This callback function will only run on the first render and not every time. Okay, and since I've added this JSON file, right? Whenever you add a JSON file over here, so if you see, there is this JSON file which has books, something like books. Okay, we have this JSON file. The data is over here, right? Now, whenever there is a JSON file, in order to get the JSON file, you have to use Axios and fetch and something like that. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm basically going to create an IFE. So this basically is called as IFE, right? Just put in the chat if you know what IFE actually is, right? Okay. So yes, Kiran gave the answer. Axios is default import, and this is not. This is basically Axios is default export, so I'm doing the default import as well. Basically, is a named export, so I have to install import in this way. So see the way I've written export const nav bar. So I'm exporting named export. Nav bar is a named export. So whenever you do a named export, you basically install it in this way, import in this way. Okay, right? There is no destructuring involved. Okay. And if we, again, Kiran gave the right answer, immediately invoked function expression. So this function will be immediately invoked, right? Generally, we basically create a function, then we call the function. So this will be immediately invoked. So this, I want it to be an async function. This will again be an arrow function, right? And then this will have a try catch block. So whenever you're getting a data from an API, make sure you always have a try catch block, right? Why? Because then you have to also see whether you get the error or not. So it's a good practice to have a catch block. So I'll just say try and I want the data. So I'll set const data is equal to await axios.get, right? Await axios.get. Why I'm using async await? Because I'm basically going to fetch a promise, right? Right? It's basically a promise, right? I'm going to fetch a data, right? Whenever you are actually fetching a data from an API, it always returns a promise, right? So to get the promise, I'm basically using this Axios await. And then what I'm going to do is in curly brace, I'm just going to write data.json, right? The name of my file. And what I'm also going to do is console.log this data to see whether I'm getting it or not, right? So I'll just do console log data, right? Okay, cool. So now if I again do npm start, right? Because I had to. Okay, there's no need to do npm start. It was already running. Okay, let me just delete this thing. Okay, so if you go back now over here, right, and then if I go onto the console, right, if I go to the console, so if you see in the console there is something called as an object over here, right? Okay, let me just refresh this again, refresh it again. So if you see, I get an object, and then the object has config and data. If you see data, there is another object called as books, which has an array of data. Okay. So if you see, I get all the data. Let me explain this once again, right? Yes, the mic is very bad. So see, the mic is not bad. The internet is very bad. That's why it's happening. But is it really very bad? Like you all can't. Aren't you all able to understand what I'm saying? Is it very bad? Just let me know if it is bad. I actually have no idea. Prithviraj Jadhav first said your mic is really bad. Now he says no, it's okay. Okay. See, the weather is bad, right? Or generally, I have a very good setup. I use podcast mic and everything. The weather is very bad over here. That's why I can't do anything about it, right? Because if you see my other videos on Geeks for Geeks channel, you'll see that the mic is always good. Okay, so let's just again just explain what I've done over here is. So I'm using a use effect. So what is the purpose of use effect? Just anyone tell me in the chat what is the purpose of use effect, right? And I'm using an empty array, right? So basically, use effect is used to do some side effects, okay? And this empty array basically means this arrow function, right? This arrow function, this arrow function basically will run on the first render itself, right? First render basically or first refresh. Whenever I refresh my page, this basically will be run only for the first time. Okay. And then inside this arrow function, I'm basically using an iffy, which is an immediately invoked function. And then inside, I want to use basically I want to use an async function, right? Why I'm using an async function? Because I want to fetch a data from an API. Whenever I fetch data from an API, it is an async operation. To do an async operation, we basically require promise, right? And the better way to do promise now is this async await, right? Okay. So for async await, I basically use a function. That's why I am basically doing using this async as an arrow function over here. And whenever you have to get a data from an API, always use try catch block, right? This is a very good practice. because then you also get your data as well, your error as well, right? And now if we go back and check over here, right? If I refresh it, I basically get it over here, right? Okay. Uh, a lot of you might be having question which says why is it getting logged 2 times, right? So it happens with React in development mode. Since we are in development mode, it will happen, and you get an object over here. This object has a key called as data, right? And in that there is a key called as books. So we have to do destructuring. Okay, just look at the way I destructure it now. So I'll basically, you know, destructure first this data, right? This data object. So when I destructure this data object, right, and then if I refresh it again, so if you see now, I get this data which has nothing but books. Okay. Now what I have to do is in this I'll basically have to again restructure books as well. So I'll just write books over here, and instead of logging data, I'll write books over here. So now if I save it and then if I go back, right? So now if you see, I basically have an array now. I have an array of all of these objects. Okay, I have an array of all of these objects. Okay, that's it. Cool. So that is how basically you destructure it. And this is a common way wherever you see it, you will actually get your JSON file in such a way and you'll destructure it in this way only. Okay. Now what I have to do is I basically have to, call this. So we have created this product card, right? See, this is a component. What was the purpose for creating this component? Right, I'll show it to you once again. So if you go back over here, this apparel cart, this is one component, right? And if you see multiple product card, and which has different data, right? But if you see, everything is common, right? The layout is same, right? The font and everything for the name and for the brand and the price and discount and start rating, everything is same. So all of this product card is actually made out of one single component. All of this product card is actually made out of one single component. Okay. So what I have to do over here is I have to call this product card component multiple times, right? Multiple times means how many times? The number of times I have this object books, right? So again, if I just do this console.log the books, right? So I have 8 different objects. 8 different object means 8 different product card, right? 8 different object basically means 8 different product card. So I have to call this product card component 8 different times. So how do I do that? So in order to do that, in the home.js, what I'm going to do is first I'm basically going to store this data, right? This books. How do I store it? I'll basically create a state variable. So I'll just say use state, right? And then over here I'll just say const, right? And this basically would basically be something called as let's say products, and then I'll just say set products, okay, is equal to use state. This basically will be an array, right? And then what I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to say set the products as nothing but books. That's it. Okay. And then what I'm going to do in this nav, I am basically going to create a JSX, right? I'm basically going to create a JSX. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to add a fragment over here. And then in the fragment, I'm basically going to add this nav bar. Okay. So can anyone tell me what a fragment is, right? And I'm going to use a JSX and I am going to map over this array. Now this products becomes an array, right? So if I console log this products, if I just do console log the products, and then if we go back over here, so again you'll see we get the same thing. If I refresh it, again I'm going to get the same thing, right? So what I'm going to do over here is I'm basically going to map over this products array, right? So over here I'll basically going to write products.map, right? Okay, products.map. And I have one question as well. Can we use for loop in React, right? Instead of map, can I use for loop also, right? Just can anyone give me the answer? Products.map. So this basically would be a product, right? Okay. Yeah. So uh, Jiva Jivanandam, if I pronounce it right. So fragment acts like a div, but it's not a div. Okay, because div basically will basically take some space in the DOM tree, right? Because it's a container. Div basically will take some space in the DOM tree, but fragment will never take any space in the DOM tree. So fragment is basically like a container which will take any place in the DOM tree. So that's why we use fragment instead of creating containers again and again. Okay. Products and product.map. So what I'm going to do is map. So see, map is like a for loop, right? So in the for loop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this product.productcard.jsx. So to do that, I have to first import it also. So over here, I'll just write import product card from this thing, components and all of these things, right? And then what I'm going to do is map over here and map the product card, right? This thing. So I'm basically calling the product card multiple times, right? So now if we go back and then if we check it over here on the browser, so if you see, I have all of these things, right? If you see, there is something which has been created over here, right? There are these cards which have been created. Rightly, the images are not there, right? Okay, but I have all of these things, right? The styling and everything basically is coming also, right? So now what I have to do is I then have to add Flexbox and all the things. So what I'm going to do over here is I am basically going to create a class called as main, right? And in the main class, I'm going to add this thing, right? And then main class basically will have a class name. So this will have a class name called as dflex, right? So if you want to use display flex, there is something called as dflex, and then gap, and then a wrap. Okay. So all of these stylings you will find it on over here. So where will you find these stylings? Is if you go to this light UI, right? This GitHub repository of the light UI library. In the style, this is taking some time. And if you go to utility CSS, in the utility CSS, you'll have all of these things. So if you go down, you will basically see dflex, which is display flex, and then there is wrap, and then there is gap, and all of these things. So do check out this utility CSS. So you'll find a lot of things. You can basically clone this one as well, right? Okay. So cool. So if you see now, now it is basically getting some shape. Now if you see, there is a gap also between the components, right? And but the image and all the things are not there, and we have to also bring it to the, bring it a little down and towards the left also. So let's do that also. Okay. So to do that, what I'm going to do is uh, in the home CSS. Okay. So in the home.js, I will basically get a class called as main, right? And I'm going to also import the home.css. So let's write import home.css since it's in the same directory, right? And I'll just write dot main, right? I will just add some margin, right? Margin top basically would be, let's say, 5 rem, right? Add some padding top and bottom also. So I'll just add a top bottom padding of 2 rem, and left right I do not want anything. I'll also take a margin left also. Margin left would be, let's say, 17 rem. Okay. If you want to write only one single margin, you can write one single margin also. So top is 5 rem, right is 0, 0, left is 17 rem. Okay, so this becomes in one single line. Okay. Now if I go back and see, now basically it's coming towards the left, right? I also have to add some padding also. So padding towards the left, right, let me add it to be 1 rem. So that would be much better. Okay. This okay. This becomes a lot of padding. Let me just make it 4 pixel. Or let's make it 0 itself. Okay. Okay. We'll see about the padding later on. Okay, cool. Now let's come back. Top right, bottom left. Okay. Now what you have to basically do is we have to if we come back to the home.js, we are basically calling this product card. But when we call the product card, we have to call it with different values also, right? We can't put the same values. So to send the different values, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a prop. So I'll just use a prop called as product is equal to, and it will nothing but be this product itself, right? So over here also I'll just write products is equal to products. Okay, this is a prop that I'm passing. Now because every single product will basically nothing but be an object, right? Okay, okay. No, I have to do product and product. Okay, I have to use this one, right? Not see, I can't use this products, but I have to use this product. So whenever I call this product card, I have to pass this product. So this product will be one single object, right? It will be equal to one single object. And which object? This object. So every product, when I map over it, will be equal to this one single object. This one single object. So now, when I'm calling this product card with this product, what I'll do is in the product card.jsx, I will also get this. So I'm getting the prop. So I'll just write over here product. Okay. And then I will also destructure it. So I'll just write const, right? So what all it has? It has ID, right? Let's check it. It has an ID, name, image, old price, new price, right? Everything, discount and everything. So ID, name, right? Old price, new price, rating, right? Discount, right? And all of these things, right? It has so many things. Cool. So we will basically just restructure all of these things. Okay, cool. And does it have a brand also? Let's check it also. So ID, name, image, category we do not require. Old price, new price, discount, rating we require. Image we require, right? Okay, yeah, image we require. Image is important. Image. That's it. Okay. And this basically will be equal to this product that has come. Okay. So this is basically destructuring, right? What I've done, just explain it once again. I'm mapping over this product array, right? Because this product array will be equal to this entire array, right? This entire array, whatever is there, it has 8 objects. So this products array, this product array will have all of these values. Now when I map over it, so this product will be equal to one single object in this data.json, right? It will be equal to this one single object. Correct. So now since it is equal to this one single object, now whenever I'm passing it as a prop, right? When I'm passing it as a prop, when I receive it, I can also destructure it. When I destructure it, I can basically get all the values, right? Because one single object has ID, image, and all. So I'll get all of these values also, right? And now what I can do is over here, instead of all of these things, I can just simply add the name and all the things, right? So what I'm basically going to do over here is I'm basically going to, so firstly for the image what I'm going to do is instead of source I'm just going to remove this source and just add image over here, right? Image. So I'll get the image. Now if we go back over here, so if you see we are getting different images, right? If you can see it, great, right? So I'm getting all the different images, right? Cool. We will style it also, rich dad, poor dad, and all of these things as well. Now we have to change the name also, right? So over here, okay, let me just see where I can put the name. Okay, so for instead of the brand name, I'm basically going to put the name, right? Over here in the brand, instead of the brand, what I'm going to do is I'll just put, okay, and this paragraph tag, let me just comment it for now. Okay, and for the price, what I'm going to do is over here, it will have the new price, right? We'll have the new price, and over here we'll have the old price 2499. This is the old price, and over here we'll have the rating also. Okay, the discount also. What is the discount? So I'll add the discount over here. Okay, great. I do not have the rating, so I'll add the rating also. So to get the rating, what basically we will do is we will basically, okay. So first let's check this. Now if you see, right, we are getting everything. We're getting all of these things in a very good way, right? The name also, and then the price and all the things. But let's style this price and all the things as well. So to style the price, what basically I have to do is uh, in the card price, right? So first, what I'll do is I'll basically add a display flex over here, right? And align it to the end. Okay. No, no. What I'm going to do over here is I'm basically going to uh, for the description. Okay, instead of I do not need the description, so this can basically go away, right? For uh, the card price, right? For the card price, I have to add some styling. So let's add some styling for the card price. Okay, okay. So in the card price, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a display flex over here, and I have to add a gap, a little gap. So over here, I'm basically going to just do dot card dash price and add a gap of 4 pixels. And in over here, I'll just have to import it as well. So just write import the product card.css, and let's see if there is a gap which is created. So if you see now in the price component, there is a gap which actually has been created. Okay. Now let's add more styling to this thing. So we have to add something for the strike through and discount as well. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do over here is in the price strike through, right? Um can I basically create something? Let's add an align end also here. Align to the end. Does it change anything? It does not change anything. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. So I have to add some styling for this price strike through and the discount also. So why basically I'll change it's basically its font size because I want the new price to have a lot of weightage rather than the discount and all of these things. So I'll make its font size to be, let's say, 14 pixels. And how much is 14 pixels? I think 14 pixels would basically be 0.875 rem. Okay. So anything above 10 pixels, you have to add it in rem. Anything below 10 pixels, you can add basically with, say, with pixels. Great. Okay. So if you see now, this basically has reduced it's what we say the font size, right? The font size is different now in both the cases, so if you can clearly see it, right? For the discount, we can add the color also. Okay, so what I can do is dot discount. The color that I want for the discount basically is nothing but the primary color hover. Let me just take primary color hover. So now if you see, the discount is basically highlighted in a different color. Okay, that's great. Cool. So we have to change for the image also. So for the image, what I'm basically going to do is first basically I'm going to change the width of the card. So I'll just take card dot vertical because I have if you see I have a card vertical, right? So I'll change the images the card vertical, and I'll make the vertical card to be 16 rem because I do not want it to be much bigger. And then what I'm going to do is I am basically going to take the card image also, and then you know the drill. What we have to do is its width. I'll take the width to be 100%, right? And I'll change the height. The height basically would be 240 pixels. So what is 240 pixels? So if you do the math, let me just divide it. 2 no, 240 divided by, let's say, 16. So this is 15 rem. So I will make this to be 15 rem, the height. And then I also need the card image also. So I'll copy this also, and I'll add the card image also. So dot card image, and this the height basically would be 100%, and then I will also add object fit also. So I'll object fit contain. That's it. Cool. Okay, that's it. So now if we go back and then if we check it, so now if you see, now everything looks much better than it was previously, right? There are a lot of things that we can do over here also is with this uh, with the name of this as well, right? If the name is increasing in size, then basically you can also put a dot 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 over there. Now let's uh, check with the button also. So for the button, what I have to do is I want to okay, so let's go back over here and in the product card, let's remove this image. Okay, I will just put this text, which basically would be uh, add to cart and nothing else. That's it. Not want anything else. So if I save it and then if you go back over here, you can add image also over here, right? If you want to add images, you can add the images also. Okay. That basically depends totally upon you. For cart, if you want to add an image, you can add an image for the cart also. Okay, cool. That's great. Now what we want basically is to when we click on this button, it should cart. Okay. So is this good till now over here because you have created a product? Actually, you have created a product page, right? Uh, See the major agenda. Okay, we have to do rating also. Okay, let's do rating and then finish the product page. Okay. So for rating, what I'm basically going to do is I'm basically going to go into Google icons. So I'll just say Google. I'll just say fonts google.com. So you just search for Google icons or Google fonts. You will basically get this link. And from this link, what I want is I basically want material icons, and I just want to get a star, right? Okay. So I'll get a star, and which star I want, I'll basically get this star. Okay. I will copy this, right? And before copying this, we over here, if you see, follow the instructions as written. We'll click on this link, and we will also import this as well, right? How do you import this? Okay, it's very simple. You just this link, okay? Do not copy the entire link, just copy the href. If you see whatever I've highlighted, just copy this, come back to the code, and in the app.css, you just have to do this thing, import URL, right? And then paste this link, okay? That's it. And this basically would be @import, okay? This would be @import, and just paste this link and put comment over here, right? And again, shift alt, and also add an outline also, outline, okay? How did I copy pasted it? I just press shift alt and the arrow key, okay? Now what can we do is again go back to the product card. Now you can simply copy this thing, right? You go on to fonts.google.com or just search for Google Fonts. Instead of material, so there will be material symbols and icons. Click on material icons, not symbols. Then search for star. You will get star. At the bottom right, you'll see this thing span, right? You copy this, right, and then you come to your React, and then over here in the React, basically inside this description, right? Inside this description, you again basically will create a paragraph tag, right? And inside this paragraph tag, basically you will add this star, right? Let me just put it over here. Why I'm creating this basically is because we will also add the rating also, right? And then you will add the rating also over here, right? The rating basically is coming from the database that you have created and nothing else, okay? And since this is outlined over here, right, in the app.css, you have to add outlined also over here, right? If you do not add outlined, it will not work, okay? Now what I have to do is over here I'll basically also add a class name, and this basically would be display flex, and basically just write align center. That's it. Okay. Cool. And this instead of class, this would again become class name. That's it. So if I save it and then if I again go back, now if I see I have a rating also, a star and 4.1, right? I can change the color of the star also, right? If you want to change the color of the star, you basically add a class in this over here called a star. Go to your product card.css, and then in the dot star you basically add a color. So I'll just add a color, and the color would, let's say, again we'll take primary color itself, primary color hover, because it looks more like so if you do not like this color also, you can change it. Instead of this thing, you can take orange also, or any color from here, right? So let's say this color I like it, so I copied it, and instead of this hover, let me add this color. So now if I save it, and then if we go back over here, yeah, so now I get the star rating also. So it's almost done with the card component. You basically have the price, right? Then you basically have the old price and then the discount also, right? So this is not tukka values. I've actually counted what is the discount, right? If you want to increase more the size of this thing, then you can increase it also, right? Or if you want to decrease instead of 8 point, let's say 75 m, let's say if you just want 10 pixels, so you can make the discount to be, but if you see 10 pixels is way too small, right? So that's why I basically added this thing only, because 10 pixels was way too small. If you want to increase the size of the actual price, then you can do that also. So wherever is this new price, right? This new price, you can basically add a class for that also. So what you can do is over here you can add a span. You can add a span, and you can add a class name. Let's say class name would be let's say new price. Okay, new price, and you add this over here, and you can then change the size over here. So I'll just go to new price. Let's say before this, after this card price, I'll add new price, and let's say the new price of font size would be, let's say 1.25 m, 20 pixels, because it is already 16 pixels. So now if we check it, so now if you see the price has the this has it looks ugly. It does not looks good. Uh, as a designer, I basically would not like it, right? So, and let me just remove this thing, the subtle out of not giving, subtle out of not giving, not this way. This works much better. Okay, cool. Okay, so now if you see, I have all of these things, right? I have everything with me over here, right? If you want to increase the space between here, so you can increase the space also. So instead of the gap that was 4 pixels, let me say if I want the gap 8 pixels, I can do that also, right? So now it looks much better, right? And even I think the price is much better now. What should I change it to the original one, or this is much better? Okay. Do you all need a break? Because it will take 1 hour for us to do for the cart also. Right? If you all need a break, I can give you all a break. If not, then we can continue the way we are doing it right now. Do you all need a break? Or should I go on? Just put in the chat. Okay. Eating. So should I give a break of 5 minutes? Is that fine enough with you, or should I continue? There are 45 people in the chat. Okay. Okay, let's take a break of 5 minutes. Okay. Just search for the Google timer. Google timer. So I'm giving a break of 5 minutes. Okay. Come back in 5 minutes. Okay. Don't take much time. Uh, just come back in 5 minutes. Okay, so is everyone back? The break is over. Is everyone back? If you are back, just put a hi in the chat. Just put a yes in the chat. If you are back, and also if I'm audible, just put a yes in the chat. Was 5 minutes break enough? uh, I just had some water and had some farsan. I was very hungry. Okay, I'll put my LinkedIn in the chat. If you all want to connect with me, you all can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Uh, right. Okay. So this is my LinkedIn. Right. If you can see, I've added my LinkedIn in the chat. It's Prakash Sakari. That's me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can ask questions. So I have a lot of students basically who keep on chatting with me on LinkedIn as though I am their friend. And yes, I believe I am their friend, and I like to chat with them also. Um, they ask their doubts, and I try my best to resolve it. And a lot of times I get a new question, and then I have to read about it, and then give them the answer. Because if I give a wrong answer, then that would actually look very bad on me. So that's how basically things are going. Okay, great. डिस्काउंट का कलर का क्या हो गया? इसको तो कलर किया था ना अपन ने. Okay, let's go and let's get started again. Product.js discount. We added some color in the discount, right? इसे कलर को क्या हो गया? Discount color, primary color hover. Okay. Okay. आता है जाता है. Primary color hover. Okay. Did I change the primary color hover also? To check in the app.css. नहीं, hover का तो सही है. Primary color. Let me copy this and let me change it. It is changing, but because of the component library and because of the internet also, this would actually work. Let's keep this to one time only. Okay. Cool. Okay. Okay. Or for discount also we can add this color if, but this color is not the color for the discount, to be very honest. It is taking the styling, then I think it is preceding also. Yeah. Okay, cool. So okay, if I check it, um, the span, the discount, yeah. So it takes the color from this. The card.css is not taking this color. Let's change it. Okay. So if you see, so whenever you use a component library, okay, always remember this thing in mind. Okay. Um, whenever, okay, it's okay, cool. So whenever you use a style component, especially like Bootstrap or whatever are done, uh, the styles of the component library will always precede rather than your style. So if you see, it basically takes two things. This it has two discount classes. One is basically which is coming from a component library. One is which I've done. So in order to avoid this, what I have to do is I have to be more specific, right? So I have to add specificity. So how do I add specificity? So I'll just take in the card price. Okay, card price के अंदर जो discount है, I'll do that thing. So I'll say dot card price and then dot discount. You make this as a color. Now if you see, it is changed. Ta-da! Right now this is fine. So if you see now the color has changed. For it gives the discount and all the things as well, and then the font size is also different. So this is how it is, and okay. Let me just change the text over here. subtle art of not giving. Okay, cool. So now if you see, now I have all of these things, right? You can uh, the spacing is a lot on the left hand and the right. Let's see why is it coming. So if we check it, the gap is there. That's cool. And so there is a lot of gap that is actually coming, and I do not want that gap. And I do not know why that gap is actually coming also. So let's check it. Um, let's check it over here. So there is no. Okay, cool. I think it's basically with the width. The width did not change in the product card.css. Card vertical and the width is 16 rem. Let's be more specific. So I'll just say dot card and then dot vertical, two siblings. So see, this is how you add two siblings, right? And this is how you basically add a child, a parent and a child, right? Okay, now if you see, now it is fine. But then this gap has increased over here of 8 pixels for this thing. So let's change this gap also. Um, the gap is 8 pixels. Let's make it 4 pixels or no gap at all. Okay, now it is fine. Um, let's make it no gap at all. There should be some gap. Let's change the font size. Instead of this thing, let's keep it 1 rem itself, and this basically would be 0.875 rem. Okay, now this is better. Okay, now this looks much better. This could be 1.25 rem, and this could. Okay, now this is better, right? So is this better, or should we change any further styling? Is this good? Just say yes or no in the chat if this is better, then we can move ahead. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Anyone who's there watching? Okay. Thanks, Manoj. Okay, so you will Oshana. You're getting error with the import of components. I've exported everything and I have the folder structure. What is my issue? I do not know because I have to see the code in order to get this resolved. Okay. Okay. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create the card page. Okay. Now comes the important part of creating the card page. Cool. So, are you all excited? Just put a thumbs up in the chat if you're excited. Come on. I need at least 10 thumbs up. Then I'll move ahead. Come on. See we have done a lot of things. Okay, we have done the cart page, we have done the product listing page, we've done the navigation, right? We'll do the cart page, right? And maybe take some other session and finish the filter also. Come on, more thumbs up. Come on, there is only one thumbs up. I just need more thumbs up. Come on. Please add subtitles. I think that will be added. How do I add the subtitles? I do not know. Maybe post this subtitles will come. I'm just assuming it in that way. Okay. So it's been all 45 minutes doing all of these things. Okay. Let's move ahead for the card page. I think people are less responsive. Okay, that's fine. Let's finish what we have to start. Okay, cool. The margin top also, let me just change the margin top. Home.css. I think the margin top is actually not required. Adding top bottom there. Okay, this is much better. This basically would be margin left only, margin dash left. Okay, fine. This is much better. Or I can make the padding to be 3 rem. Now when I click on this add button, it should be added to the cart, right? So to do that, what I have to do is, okay, first let's do it code it in this way that if I click on this card, it should take me to the card page, right? If I click on this thing, it should take me to the card page. So how do I do that? So in the nav bar, what I have to do is, instead of this A tag, I have to use a link tag, which basically comes from the React router DOM. So what we are going to do over here is we are basically going to also install something called as npm I router dash DOM. Okay. So what is React router DOM? So React router DOM basically uh, has a lot of hooks, which basically helps into a route. So if you understand the meaning of router basically means to route from one page to other page, basically move from one page to other page. So it gives you hooks which helps us in such a way that if I click on a button, then it can go to a different page, right? Navigate to a different page, something like that, right? In the meanwhile, when it is downloaded, I also would encourage you to check our Geeks for Geeks page, right? So Geeks for Geeks / courses. Okay, we have a lot of courses which come over here, right? And if you go to Geeks for Geeks courses, this link practice, you will find development. And in development, there are a lot of courses, right? Some live course, okay? And Facebook and all of these things. In the Bootstrap course, there are a lot of free courses, right? Uh, where is my course? Okay, this is one of the course that I have made, JavaScript Foundation self-paced. Okay, you will learn JavaScript right from the scratch. Course, right? You can, right? If you want to learn React, there is a course on React also over here. If you see, this is done by one of a very good industry expert which we have on board. He wants link also in the chat, and you can check this later on for your reference, right? And if you want to do any course from us, you can do course. We actually for free courses, and that is good enough. But if you are actually getting some quality, then spending money should not be an issue for you, right? It's see when I also learned by paying a lot of money. I did a lot of course from Udemy, from Coursera, right? A lot of different places, and paid a lot of money to get a lot of different courses, and then um, whatever I have learned now is from all these courses. So uh, this money will not be wasted if you take these courses, right? There are free courses also which you can check out. These free courses are written courses, and these are not what you say video courses. There is a course on advanced JavaScript also which I love a lot, right? Cool. So that's about that's it. So let's go to, I think this might have installed the React router DOM. So that's it done, right? So React router dash DOM. Okay. So now what I have to do basically is what I have to do. Yeah, cool. So I have to basically in the index.js first import this thing. So I will basically write import browse router. If you see this thing, browser router, import browser router from React router.dom, and I will provide this browser router to the app itself, right, to the app component. If I do not do this, then use any hook from the React router. Okay, I have to provide this browser router to this entire app. Then only I can use any hook from the React router. Now what I can do is in the app in the nav bar, over here what I can do is I can use this link tag and I can just write import link from React router DOM. Can anyone tell me what is the purpose of this link? So this link is a component, okay? This is not a tag and something like that. Okay. What I have to do over here is let me, instead of this a tag, I'll just have a link, right? Finish it with a link, right? And instead of href, this will have something called as path. Will it have a path or will it have a to? I think this should have a to. Let me check it. Yeah, this will have a to. So to the home page would basically be the home page. And over here also, I'll have the link, right? Does anyone know what is the purpose of this link component? And then two, we'll create something called as the cart. So if I click on this, it will take us to the cart page, right? Okay. So the purpose of this this link component is exactly like the a tag, like the anchor tag that we have. The only difference between these two is whenever you use an and whenever you click on any link, it basically reloads the page, right? It refreshes the page. But with link, it won't reload the page, right? That basically does not reload the entire page. Okay, that is what the link actually does. So it provides a reload. Now, what happens when you reload? If you reload it, everything will be refreshed, right? So we do not want to unnecessarily create a reload. So React basically use something for something called as SPA. SPA basically stands for what? Single page application, right? SPA stands for single page application. So that means we do not want to create a refresh when we want to navigate from one page to the other page, right? When you want to navigate from one page to other page, you do not want to create a refresh. So that's what we are actually doing over here. Okay, cool. So now, okay, so I have this link and everything over here. So for over here also, for this also, I'll basically add a link over here, a link tag, and this will have the butterfly books. Butterfly books. What a name I thought of this thing. Wow. And then the path would be home itself, and have to add a class name. Do not add a class name, then basically it will add underline and all of these things the way it does for an anchor tag, right? That's it. Okay, now we have to create a cart page, right? So in this pages, I'll come into this pages folder, and in this page, get a page called as cart, a folder, and in the folder I'll create cart.js and cart.css. Okay. In the cart.js, what I'm going to do is export const cart is equal to, right, and return, let's say I just return an h1 which would say cart page. Okay, that's it. Cool. What I have to do is in the app.js, I have to import this in the app.js. In the app.js, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write import cart from where? From this cart page, from this pages /cart/cart.js. Okay, that's it. Now, how do I put it over here, right? Now, I can't just do cart over here, right? If I do it, and then becomes wrong, right? What I have to do is I have to use something called as routes. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm just going to say import routes and import route. Import route and import routes from the React router DOM. Okay, I've imported routes and I've imported route. Anyone before over here before use this routes and route? Have you all used it? Okay. Nope. It's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say routes, right? I'm going to create a route. So I'll just create a route, right? The path would basically be the home page, and the element that I have to render on the home page would nothing but be this home page. That's it. This is how I create a route, right? Again, I'll create a route, and the path for this route now will be the cart page, and the element that I want to show would basically be this cart page itself. So what I've done over here basically is, okay, what I've done is, uh, yes, the source code will be given. So if you check in the description, the link is already there for the source code. Once I finish the entire thing, I'll basically push everything onto GitHub, right? Now it will basically have a starter file only. All the codes are not there. But once I'm done, I'll put all the things on the GitHub itself. So what I've done over here is now we are basically entering to the critical part, right? So I'm creating a route called as path, and on this route I have to show this home page, right? Then I've created a route with the path cart, and on this cart route I have to display this cart page. That is what basically I'm doing over here. So now if I go on to the our page and if I click on cart, so now if you see I get cart page. Okay, good. Let's go back. So we are getting it. If I click on home, I'll be on the home. If I click on cart, I'll come. If you see this endpoint over here, it is nothing but cart, right? If you can see the endpoint, I can't zoom in. Okay, let's go back. Now let's design the cart page. Any questions in this? Anyone? Any questions? Okay. In the cart, what I do is to import the nav bar also, right? So to import the nav bar, right, what I have to do is, it's quite simple. Okay. So I'll just do import the nav bar, right? But now, since there would be multiple components, right? There is product card, there is one more thing also. In the component also, I can create an index.js. So I'll just write index.js. And I'll just write inside this index.js, I'll just write export the nav bar from navbar and navbar.jsx. That's it. In the cart, I just have to write import navbar from the component. That's it. When I write import navbar from the now if you see there are two different ways, right? I'll show you the home page and the cart.js, right? In the home, if you see, I've written import navbar from component and then navbar and here. But if you see in the cart.js, I've just written import navbar from this component itself. Why is this happening? Because in the component folder, I've created something called as index.js. And in the index.js, right, if you see there is a nav bar, right? Okay, there is a nav bar. So if there is an export nav bar. So what you have to do is when I do import, it will just give me the nav bar itself. Okay. When I do import from components, it will directly import it from this index.js. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So okay. One thing I forgot to tell you about is there is a contest also and some questions also. So I'll put the link in the chat, right? Okay. So this is a contest, right? So there these are these interview questions, right? If you can see, I've put a link in the chat, right? So this is only front end interview questions. There is no back end questions over here. So you have to register, right? So there are 30 questions and 30 minutes, and yeah. So there are React questions, there are JavaScript questions, and then there are CSS questions also. Okay, I'll put the link once again for people who have joined right now. So there is this contest, right, on our contest page. You can basically get this contest. So project is front end only or with back end. So project is only front end. There is no back end involved in this. Okay. Don't leave the live stream and go back to the contest. Okay, finish it. Okay, contest. There is a lot of time in the contest. Contest के लिए बहुत सारा time है. ठीक है, ये खत्म कर लेते हैं फिर contest भी कर लेना आराम से. Okay, इस card page को हटाया जाए and then let me add a nav bar itself over here. Okay, set. Now if I check it and if I click on cart, okay, if you see I get the nav bar. If I click on home, I'm on the home page. So see, this is the beauty of using a reusable component. I have just created a nav bar and I can use it wherever I want. In the home.js, nav bar use kar liya, right? In the cart.js bhi nav bar use kar liya. So this is the beauty of creating a reusable component. You just can create it n number of times. Okay, cool. Now what we want is, now we want the horizontal product card. So if you see in this apparel card, if I click on go to card, this is another card which is a horizontal product card, right? I want this card now. So to get the product card, again we'll go to this UI Lite, right? Card already card में है हम. Okay, there are like card with badge, card vertical, okay, card with dismiss, something like this, and all lot of things. Overlay, horizontal. So I'll take this one, right? This horizontal card. I'll copy this, right? Cool. And then what I'm going to do is in the product card, I'll basically create something called as product card horizontal. I'll just say product card horizontal dot JSX. That's it. And I'll write over here export const uh, product card horizontal is equal to, right, and then return the markup and then add everything over here. That's it. Okay, cool. Okay, जहां जहां error है error solve कर देंगे over here, right, very simply. Okay, cool. There is one more error. I do not know what is the error now. Let me check the error. Okay. Okay, here is also the error for the image over here. First of all, I do not need the image for add to cart. Let me just remove it. बेकार का परेशानी है ये. Okay, great. Cool. Check everything, which is if it is perfect or not. Okay, this might happen with you also, right? I am just checking it just now. ये पहले कभी देखा नहीं था मैंने कि ऐसा एरर आता है इसमें, मतलब ऐसा हो जाता है. अब देख लिया तो ठीक है. ओके, कूल. Okay, so see, if you all want to, learn development, right? Ganesh Avare, just go on to this link, right? Which I have done. Prakash Sakari, ये मैं ही हूँ, ठीक है? Just go on to this link and you'll have a lot of courses, right, on JavaScript, React. Just take any course, whichever you want. Pocket friendly course, not that costly also. Okay, cool. This is done. Horizontal card add kar diya. Now what you have to do is in the card.js have to add all of these things. So before doing that, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to create a context API, right? I have to create a context API because I have to store everything. Okay, whenever I click on the button, so I have to come over here. In the product card.jsx, whenever I click on this button, add to cart button, I have to add this product to the cart, right? Whenever I click on this add to cart, I have to add this product to the cart. So how do I do that? So to do that, I have to create an array, and to do that, I have to create a context API. So I'll create a folder called as context, right? And in this, I'll create something called as context.js. If you understand cart, you can create wishlist on your own, right? Over here, just write import create context, use context, and then a reducer also, use reducer. That's it. Okay. And I'll over here create a context. I'll just write const cart context is equal to create context, right? And let me create an initial value also. So I'll just say const initial value, right? Initial value basically would be an object, and it will have a cart, right, which should be empty. It will also have the quantity also, right? If it does not have the quantity, then how basically will it work, right? The cart context. So okay, cool. Quantity we'll add later on. Now what I have to do basically over here is I'll provide the initial state of initial value over here, right? and then I'll just create const cart provider, a provider, which basically would be a callback function, right? And would take the card context dot provider and have a children, right? Children basically would be the component to which you are providing this context, right? What is context API? Is basically a creates like a global makes any data globally available anywhere, right? That's basically a use of this context API, because our data basically will be shared between different components, right? Since it is shared between different components, we want to use a context API. Then in order to use this, all of these things, I'll just say use cart, and I'll say use context and the cart context, right? Or create ref and this children, everything is not required over here. I have to also use a reducer also. अच्छा इस context को मैंने component में डाल दिया. I have to remove it from here and put it over here. Yes. Okay. Cool. Now I have to also create a reducer also. So I'll create in the source. I'll create a folder called as reducer, and I'll create something called as cart reducer .js. I'll just say export const cart reducer is equal to nothing, right? Okay. And in the cart context, I'm going to import this cart reducer, right? For now, it does not have anything, but then we will add a lot of things. So cart reducer from the cart reducer, right? And see over here, cart context provider, it has to provide a value. So it will provide the value of this cart, right? Cart. And what I have to do is I have to also, since the way we use state, I have to also create a cart. So I'll just say const state and dispatch, right? Cart dispatch is equal to use reducer. So see, use reducer basically takes two things. It will basically take a cart reducer, a reducer function, and it will take an initial value, right? So we have already created the initial value over here. So use reducer takes two things, a cart reducer function and an initial value. It gives us two things. It gives us a state and a cart dispatch. So when you call cart dispatch, you are actually calling the cart reducer function. Okay, I'll repeat it once again. So basically this use reducer takes two things. One is the cart reducer function, which we have already created over here. We have written nothing in it, right? The second is the initial value, right? This is the initial value. It returns two things. It returns a state variable and it returns a dispatch function. When you call the dispatch function, you are actually calling the cart reducer itself. Now the state will have this cart value. So I can also destructure this and just write cart over here. That's it. Right? And the value will be cart and cart dispatch. That's it. So what we are actually doing is, to this children, we are providing these two values, the cart and cart dispatch. To this children, we are actually providing cart and cart dispatch. Now what will be the children? So for the children, what I have to do is, I have to also export this thing. In order to provide these values, I have to export the use cart and the cart provider. And then I have to use this cart provider. I have to provide this cart provider to this app is nothing. So I just write import the cart provider from the context and cart context, and provide this to this app. So cart provider, that's it, and provide it to this app. That's it. Okay. Now we have provided this cart provider to this app. So that means this children. So if I go back over here and see this children, what it is, this children is nothing but the app component for now. Okay. This children is the app component. Now what I can do over here is, now I can go to anywhere. I can go to the product cart.jsx, right? And then what I can do over here is, right, I can just import this thing. I can just say import use cart from the cart context, right? Now, whenever I want to use this cart dispatch and cart, I can do it using this use cart. whenever I want to use this cart and cart dispatch, I can do it using the use cart, right? Now what I have to do is, in over here, I will simply write, when I click the button on click, right, I'll just say handle add to cart click, okay, handle add to cart click, or you can just say add to cart click handler also, right? So this is a norm we practice. We just say whenever there is a button, we say click handler or handle, something like that, right? And over here, I'll just say const handle add to cart click an arrow function, and this basically would do the cart dispatch. Now, in order to get the cart dispatch, see why cart dispatch? Because I have to call the reducer function. So what I have to do is, whenever I click on the add to cart button, it should add that product to a cart array, right? It should add the product to this cart array. Now this cart array is empty, right? This cart array is empty. Whenever I click on the add to cart button, it should add the cart to this cart array. How will it add it? In order to add it, it will have to call this cart reducer function, because you have to write the logic in the cart reducer. In order to call the cart reducer, I have to use cart dispatch. Okay. In order to call the cart reducer, I have to use the cart dispatch. I'll repeat this once again. Okay. Whenever I click on the add to cart button, it should add that product to this cart. And when I say add that product, basically means its object, right? Right. In this over here, we have created this thing. Suppose I click on this one, rich.code. So when I click on add to cart, it should add all of this data. It should add this object. It should add this object to this cart array, right? And where will we write the logic? We'll write the logic in this cart reducer function, right? In order to call this cart reducer, I have to use this cart dispatch. Got it? So whenever I click on the button, I have to call this cart dispatch. Okay. So let's get that thing. Yeah. So over here, I have to, since I've imported the use cart, so I'll just write over here const. I have to get this cart dispatch. So I will copy this, copy the cart dispatch. So I'll say cart dispatch is equal to use cart. That's it, right? And then over here in this handle art, dispatch take two things. It takes type and payload. So type would be add to cart, and the payload would be this product. Okay. Now what I have to do is, in this cart reducer, what I have to do is, this basically takes a state and an action, right? Now the action is nothing but this this will basically take, and an action would nothing but be this type and payload. So over here I can just destructure it. I can just write over here type comma payload. Here I'll just take, so I'll just say switch depending type, right? So if the case is add to cart, then what I have to do is I have to return the this is the state object. Okay, this is the state object. So I have to return the state object and then change the cart to nothing but be the payload itself. Will be some, and then we'll handle all of them separately also, right? Because we can't handle everything once and for all, right? Okay, but over here, okay, let's do it over here only. So what I'm going to do is, every time I want to basically add different values to this cart array. So I have to first, what do you say, spread it also. So I'll just write state.cart and I'll add an object, right? And now spread this object also payload and add a count of quantity. So I'll just say quantity, QUANTITY, quantity would be 1. Right. So what I'm doing actually over here, if you see, is basically whenever I click on the add to cart button, so let's understand this thing. Whenever I click on the handle add to cart button, it basically does this cart dispatch with the type is add to cart and payload is product. When I do the type dispatch, cart dispatch, it will basically call this cart reducer. Right, as I told you, whenever I do cart dispatch, it will call the cart reducer. In the cart reducer, I'm saying the type and payload. Payload is this value itself, and type is the whatever is the type. So then I'll use switch case, right? If the type is, and in the case according to the type, if the type is add to cart, you return the state variable. And in the cart array, so if you remember, you have the cart array. In the cart array, I have to add this payload. Payload is nothing but the object. So if you see, payload is nothing but this product, and this product has all of these values, right? So I have to add this object to basically to this cart, right? For that, I have to also spread it again, and then I'll add a quantity also that once it's added, its quantity should be 1, right? I hope you understood this thing. And I also have to add a default, because if I do not add a default, it will give an error. Default, I'll just return the state object. The state object is nothing but once again this object, this one. I've just destructured it. You can write any name, state, cart state, or anything like that. Okay, that's it. Let's move ahead. Now what I can do is, now basically let's check, right, whenever I click on the button whether the object is added or not. Okay, cool. So what I can do is I can come to the let's say the home.js itself, or let's say the home.js. Where is the home? घर का गया यहाँ पे. And in the home.js, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to import the use cart. Import use cart. No, import use cart. Import use cart, right? And then I'm also going to get the value of cart. So I'll just say const cart is equal to use cart. Just do console.log the cart. So now agenda is whenever I click on it, it should basically update this thing, right? So okay, there is an error. No error. Let me restart the terminal. I think there's a problem. Okay. So I'm restarting the terminal, and let's see what does it show now. It is taking some time to load, right? And does not show any error also. Is there something wrong that we have done? Text.js, card provider. It does not show anything on this also. Let's see the components. Shows router, children card provider, navigation, location. Okay, if I've done some, let me just remove this card provider if any problem is happening because of this thing. Okay, the problem was with the card provider itself, but why is there a problem with the card provider? Okay, so there is some problem with the card provider. Let's debug it. Okay, anyone up to debug this with me? So in the card context, it's use cart provider is cart context, use context, create context, cart context dot provider value. Okay, cool. So over here, I have to do a return which I didn't do. Okay, so since this is a component, right? Cart provider is a component. So whenever I have to do all of these things, I have to actually do a return. If I do not do a return, then this is not going to work. So now if I cut it, and then if I put it over here, cut it and put it over here. Okay, so now this should work. In the index.js, again, let me check. Okay. Yeah, now if I go back, if it works. Okay. So the error that I had done is, it was not an error. I missed it. Right. Can't say an error. Is this basically is a component, right? So, and then I have to return this also. This happens a lot with me. I always forget the return, right? And then I wonder, कैसा React developer हूँ मैं कि ये भूल जाता हूँ बार बार ही. Okay, cool. ID is not required. Remove it. Cool. So yeah, now let's go and check it. So now if I click on the add to cart, okay, console. If I click on the बड़ा सा error आ गया. Okay, warning: each child in the list should have a unique key. Okay, good. Let's solve this error, right? So if you see there is this error, each child in the list should have a unique key prop. So this is coming from here, okay, the product card, because from the home page, this is coming from the home page. Whenever you get this error, each child in the list should have a unique key prop. What you have to do is just go to the home.js, and wherever you are doing this thing, map and all of these things, you have to add a prop called as key also. And the key would nothing but be your product dot id, okay, because it your stupid error. Okay. If I refresh this now, okay, now if I get it, so if I click on add to cart, if you see, I have an object, right? And if you see the values, right? 5 would be, if I click on this again, then again I get 3 things, right? But this should not happen, because it should only add it to once and then change it to go cart, right? Let's go back, right, to the cart. No, to the product cart.js. Yes, over here. Okay. Now what we have to also do is we have to change this thing also. We have to change its value from add to cart to go to cart, right? How do we do that? So to do that, first we have to check whether the product is there in the cart or not, right? So to do that, what we are going to do is we are basically going to create a utility file, right? And say find item in the cart. Okay. So in the source, what I'm going to do is over here, I'm basically going to create something called as utils, and say find item, find not item, find product. This would be better. Product. Con over here, and then say product. So if the product.id is id. So what is the meaning of this thing? What does dot sum do? So dot sum basically will return a true if this condition is satisfied. Otherwise, it will return a false. Right. What I'm actually going to do is whenever I click on the button, I will first call this function to check whether that product is available in the cart's ID or not. So instead of products, let me make this cart itself. So this basically would be cart, right? And the cart will have products, right? So I will check whether this product ID is already available in the cart ID or not. If it is available, I won't add it back to the cart. If it is not available, then only I'll add it to the cart, right? So what I'm going to do over here is the get product by ID. Okay, it will take a cart array and the ID of the current product that I want to add to cart, right? It will take the cart array and the ID of the current product that I want to add to cart. So if the current product is already there in the cart, okay, then I will increase the quantity, right? I won't add it to cart, but I'll just show go to cart, right? Since I've exported it, I will also import it also. So I will just say get product by ID. In the product card, I'll just say import get product by ID. From I have to come outside, bahut bahana padega. And in utils, I have this thing. Okay, great. Is everyone understanding or it is going above your head? Just let me know. I'll try to explain it and make it as simple also as I can. Okay. And then over here, I'll basically add something called as const. Okay, I'll say is product in cart is equal to get product ID, right? And what I have to do is I also want the cart also. So from the use card, I'll get cart and cart dispatch. I'll put cart and comma the ID. ID that was useless over here, now it will come handy. So let me cut it from here and put it over here and put cart and the product ID. Okay, so this will give me true false, right? It will basically check it. If this is true, then I want to show the message would be go to cart, right? Otherwise it should add to cart, right? So what I'll do over here is instead of just writing add to cart, I will basically create a JSX. It will say is product in cart. If the product is in cart, then you show go to cart. Then you show go to cart, right? Otherwise, you show add to cart. Okay. What happened is everyone tired. No one is responding. Or am I audible? Can you hear me? Are you all tired? Should I stop or should I go on? Just let me know what should I do. Should I stop or should I continue? Okay. Are you understanding though? Cool. I think it's difficult, so a lot of people are actually leaving also. Cool, no worries. Okay. So when it is when the product is in cart, it should show go to cart, and when it is not in cart, it should show add to cart. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Kamruddin. Thanks, Vivek. Respect. Ashish Kumar, thanks. Quick clip, thanks. My step. Okay. Cool. On click में भी यही करना पड़ेगा. In the on click also, if is product in cart. If the product is in cart, right, then there is no handle add to cart. Then what we'll do is we'll create another function which would be handle go to cart. Handle go to cart click. Right. Okay. Cool. And in handle go to cart click is very simple. Right. Handle go to cart click में कुछ नहीं करना. Handle go to cart click में क्या करना है? We just have to go to the cart page. Now to go to the cart page, we'll basically use another React router hook, which basically is use navigate. So just write import use navigate from React router DOM, and then when I click on go to cart, okay. So what does use navigate do? See, listen to this carefully. Use navigate basically returns a navigate function, right? Use navigate returns a navigate function. So I can just write const navigate is equal to use navigate. Whenever I call use navigate hook, this is a React hook, use navigate, coming from React router DOM. Just as in the Nav Bar there was link from React router DOM, it also has use navigate. Use navigate returns a navigate function. See, by the name navigate, you can understand what does navigate do. Navigate का मतलब ये होता है इधर उधर जाना, right? Navigate basically means to go from one place to the other place, go here and there. So when I click on go to cart, it should navigate me to the cart page. So / cart. That's it. That's it. That's it. Cool. So now if we save it and then if we go back and then if we check, so let me refresh this, refresh this. So if I click on add to cart, see this becomes right. And if I click on go to cart, it takes us to the cart page. Beautiful, right? Let's come back. And if I click over here add to cart, it becomes go to cart, right? And then if I click on go to cart, it basically takes us to the cart page. Okay. Now there are a lot of ways also, right, to make this more better way is I've also seen this on Flipkart. In Flipkart, when you click on add to cart, it will directly take you to go to cart. Okay, basically take you to the cart page. So we can do that also here. The same thing, right? Navigate and then cart. Okay, this is what Flipkart does, and I've seen this a lot of times. So when you click on add to cart, basically open the cart page, right? If you go back, this will already be go to cart only. And if you click over here also add to cart, it will take you to the cart page directly. So if you see, this is the cart page over here. Okay, in the cart page now we have to add a lot of things. Now the good part is that it won't be added multiple times, right? So we have solved that error. So see, you have to think and you have to be wise enough of how you can solve a lot of things, right? The first thing basically, the problem was that when I click multiple times on add to cart, it will add the same object to the cart array, right? It will add the same object to the cart array. But I don't want to do that. So I can just, what I can do is I can check whether the product is added to cart or not. Before, when I click on it, first, when I click on the button, so before adding the product to cart, right, I will first check whether the product is already there in the cart or not. If the product is there in the cart, so what I've done is I've said, if the product is there in cart, then you call the handle go to cart, right? If the product is not there in the cart, then you call the handle add to cart, right? This is what it is. Okay, cool. Okay, there are a lot of people which have come now. I think there are a lot of new people. So for everyone who has come just now, right, I'm putting a link in the chat. This is a link for the content, a lot of front-end interview questions. Okay, it has CSS questions, JavaScript and React. There are no HTML questions because no one is going to ask you that, a very rare case. Okay, so this basically is this front end, front end interview questions. Okay, solve this not now. Okay, जब भी मैं लिंक डालता हूँ 5 से 10 लोग गायब हो जाते हैं. अभी मत करो, ठीक है, बाद में करो, आराम से करो, बहुत टाइम है, 7 दिन है इसके लिए. देयर आर 7 days टू डू दिस थिंग, राइट? ओके, अब पता नहीं मुझको कि ये करके कुछ गुडीज वीडीज मिलेगा कि नहीं, पर पता नहीं तुमको, एटलीस्ट क्वेश्चन तो पता चल जाएगा, वो एक अच्छा चीज हो जाएगा. ठीक है, ओके, ठीक. ओके, ग्रेट, लेट्स मूव अहेड. नाउ व्हाट आई हैव टू डू इज the cart page. Okay, cart में array बन गया. Okay, so it's very simple now. The way we did for home page, what did we do for home page, right? In the home page, we got the product, right, using this Axios and all of these things, and then we used map, right? Cool, because we have an array. Now in the cart page, you have to do the same thing, but you do not require Axios and all those things. In the cart page, we just require the cart array, right? So where will I get the cart array from? From the context, right? In the context, there is this cart array. Okay, so come to the cart page, import, oh my god, cart, not cart, import use cart, import use cart, सब लिखना पड़ेगा मेरे को, from from the context there is this cart context. Okay, and then from this use card I'll get the cart, right? Because this use card is a provider, it provides a value, right? If you understand this cart, if you understand the context, right, it basically gives you all of these things, this providing the value of cart dispatch and all the things. If you have trouble understanding all of these things now, you can actually read the folk React one, right? It has been explained everything on there. Okay, so there is a question from Yashwant which says, can we present a component while clicking on a button? Why not? We can do that thing, right? So you have to you can create a modal, something like that, right? When you click on the button, it will basically show that modal, right? And then if you click on it will close it, right? So I've done that also, right? There are a lot of projects in which I've done. So if you go onto my GitHub, there is a project called as video library. In that I've done that. When you click on a button, it opens a new component, and then you click on it, you close the component. And there are many projects that have done it. Okay, cool. I'll just use a fragment over here. Hello wild beast, what's up? तो ऐसा नाम क्यों रखते हो यार, वाइल्ड बीस्ट? ओके, क्विक्स क्लिप, बहुत ही अजीब लगता है पढ़ के, समझ में नहीं आता क्या बोलूं. ओके, cool. Now what we are going to do basically is coming to the cart page. Okay, let's come to the cart page. Okay, so in the cart page what I'm basically going to do is, so first I'll just say, agar if there is the cart array, if the cart array is not undefined, which will not be, and if the cart dot length, if it is length is greater than 0, right, then only you show this thing, right? Then only what you have to do is, then only you show me the cart page. So what I'm going to do is, over here, basically it's, yeah, so it will basically show an h2 and then it will say your cart. So it should basically, things are there, and then it will basically tell us that these many items are there in the cart. So your cart has, let's say, cart dot length, length, cart dot length items. Okay, cool. Otherwise, कुछ गलत कर लिया क्या अपने यहाँ पे? हाँ, okay. Otherwise, it should say your card is empty, right? Otherwise, it should again take an h2 and say your cart is empty. So if there is nothing in the cart, it should say your cart is empty. If there is something in the cart, it should show how many items are there in the cart. So if we go back now, see there are go to cart and go to cart. So if I click on the cart page, it should say your cart 2 items, right? So there are 2 items in your cart. Okay, but if I go back and then if I refresh it, so everything would be refreshed. Now there is nothing in the cart. If I go to cart, it says your cart is empty. Correct? Now if I click on add to cart, it says your cart 1 items. Add to cart, your cart 2 items. Okay, so great. Okay, now what we have to do is, now we have to again have a different thing, right? So now after this I'll have again a main tag, right? And this would have a class name for cart. So I'll just write class name is main and then cart, right? This will again have a display flex and this will again have a gap. Okay, cool. Right. Now what I want is, okay, इसका actually जरूरत है नहीं अपने को, ये main की जरूरत नहीं है, हटा देते हैं इसको. Create a container div with the class name would be display flex column. So I'll just write direction column, and there would be a gap also. कुछ तो gap देना पड़ेगा. Now again the same thing. If the cart is there and cart dot length is greater than 0, then what I want to do is, then I'll do cart dot map. Because see, cart is an array. The way I did products dot map, I can do cart dot map also, right? So we'll do cart dot map. Okay. Okay. So Yashwant has a question which says, sir, it will show in the same tab. Yes, it will show in the same tab, Yashwant, the component, because you have to add all of things in the same page, right? There is a question from Sahil Pable. You did diploma from Bharati? Yes, I did diploma from Bharati Vidyapeeth. Okay. Utpal this side. Yes, Utpal, what's up? Okay. Let's go back. Okay, so the way we did in homepage, products.map, because products is an array. Over here also we'll do cards.map. Come on, cards.map, and this will have a product. What I have to call? Which one I have to call? I have to call the product card horizontal. Okay, amazing. So what I have to do is I have to import this also. So I'll just write import. Now see, instead of importing this in this way, what I can do is in the components, what I've created in the components, I've created this index.js. Over here only, I'll just write export product card horizontal from the product card and product card horizontal. That's it. And let me copy this. And when I have to import it, I can just import it directly over here. See, the pane is gone. Right? In the home JS, I had to import it again and again, like this, right? But in the card JS, I've done import in one single line, right? This is what I want. This is what is the beauty of using index.js, right? Don't get confused with this index.js and this index.js, right? This index.js is the main index.js, and this index.js is for this folder. Okay, I hope you understood. Okay, so now this will basically take the product card horizontal, right? And then I have to pass the product also. Okay, not procutes, it should be product, right? Oh God, I'll copy this product and pass this product as a prop, right? Okay, pass this product as a prop. Okay, otherwise what I have to say is otherwise there is nothing. Okay, otherwise, okay, empty. Cool. This will add a key also. So key basically would be nothing but the product.id. I hope you understood what product is now, right? Product is nothing but that array itself. Okay, cool. So now what I have to do is now in the product horizontal.jsx, right? I will get the product over here. So over here I'll just say product, right? And then I have to destructure it. So in order to destructure everything, I will simply take this product card.js what I had and destructure it in this way, and go to the product card horizontal, right? Product card horizontal, and destructure it. Okay. And then instead of all the things, like instead of this source, क्या add करना पड़ेगा? Image, right? Cool. ये trending हटा देंगे. There is no need. Instead of this premium collection, there would be the name. Okay. This men's sneaker is not required. Instead of this would be the new price. Okay, इसको comment से हटा ही देते हैं इसको. Instead of this would be the old price. 30 would be the discount, right? Quantity पे बाद में आते हैं. ठीक है? Cool. That's it. गजब, मजा आ गया. Okay, cool. So that's it, right? Cool. We'll add buttons also, right? Don't worry about that. So now if we see it, okay, is there any CSS required? So there's no CSS required for this. Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, cool. Now if I go to the cart, there should be two things. Amazing, great, good job everyone. Nice. Let's refresh it. Okay, got a little excited though with this thing because it is working, right? So if I go to cart now, it says your cart is empty. Now if I add this thing, it will take me to the cart page and show your cart one items, and then yeah, we have this thing, right? It is good. Cool. Nice. Cool. And then if I add one more thing, it again takes me over here and shows me the image and the title and the price and the quantity. Add to cart, and if I want to move it to wish list or not. Right? Cool. Amazing, right? Is this good? Right. Great. Okay, so yes, this will be available on YouTube, right? Can you? Okay, so Mohammed has asked a question. Can you make e-commerce website using Angular? Yes, we can make e-commerce using Angular also, right? All of these are just libraries and frameworks. Like React is a library, Angular is a framework, right? All of these things are built on JavaScript itself, right? So whatever is built on JavaScript, if one can do, then the other can also do. If React can build e-commerce, Angular can also build e-commerce, can also build e-commerce. Everything can build e-commerce. Correct. Okay. Let me add some styling to this card CSS, right? And then we will move ahead. Okay. So what I have to do is in the card CSS, let me first come to the card JS. What is the class name? Class name डाला है क्या कुछ? Okay, so the in the class name over here I'll add main card, right? And for the main card, right? Main card, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a margin top and left. So I'll just say margin. Top would be 1 rem, left, right and bottom 0, and left would be, let's say, 15 rem. And import this in the cart over here also. So I'll just write import the cart CSS. Cart.css. Oh, there's one more way. Okay, great. If you want to bring it a little down, we can bring it a little down also. Right, we can basically add everything into a main tag and then bring everything down. Right. So after the nav bar, let me add a main tag and add these two things in the main tag. Right. That would be much better. And then let's say this. If I give it a class name as main, then basically, oh, this is much better now. Then there is no need for this main card. Yes. But we can add this main card and add a margin top. There's no need for the margin left, something like that. Right. So this is much better, right? Great. Okay. Cool. We'll finish it in some time. Just have to add for the quantity and something like that. So if I click on this plus sign, the quantity should increase. Right, on the minus and increase. That's it. So let's do that thing. So if I come onto the product horizontal, just half an hour. We'll take more. We'll just take half an hour more, and then we'll wind it up. Okay. Okay. So I thought this will take 2 hours, but it's not going to take 2 hours. It takes time, right? But I'm willing to be there and do it with you. If you all are willing to stay and do it with me, so I'm willing to be there and do it with you. Okay. Cool. But it won't take more than half an hour, I promise you. Okay, cool. So let's handle for the increment and decrement. Okay. So over here in the quantity, what I have to do over here is, right. So for the minus sign, this is a button. So this basically would be on click, handle decrement. Okay. And over here for the plus sign on click, this would be handle increment. Okay. So handle increment and handle decrement. So let me just do this thing. Const handle decrement is equal to, right. Now all of these things again will go into the cart reducer itself, right. So again what I have to do is I have to import the use cart. So just say import use cart, right. And then over here we'll just say const cart dispatch, right, is equal to use cart. I'll give you some homework also which you can do and also show that also. So cart dispatch, this type would be decrement. Okay. Now what I have to decrement, I have to also specify the product also, right. So when I do this thing, I have to also pass the ID also. So in this on click handle decrement, what I'll do is I will pass the ID as well. Okay. So I will the ID also over here. Okay. Whenever you want to pass any value to a callback function, right, to this thing, you have to always use a callback function and call this callback function. Okay. Whenever you have to pass a value like handle decrement, I'm passing the product ID. So I'm passing the product ID because ID is unique, right? So I'll use the product ID to identify it. So whenever you have to do this thing, you always use a callback function, right? If you do not use a callback function, it will keep on calling it every time. Okay. So this will take the ID, right? And then this will become the payload. So the payload would nothing but be the ID. The same thing will happen for increment. So I'll just copy this, and instead of handle decrement, this will basically be handle increment, and this basically would be increment. That's it. Okay, and the payload is nothing but the ID. Okay. Now what I have to do is I have to go to the cart reducer. Okay, I have to go to the cart reducer and then write the very simple code for this thing. Okay, code is quite simple, not that difficult. Okay, if you feel it is difficult, then it becomes difficult. If you feel it is doable, it is doable. Okay, decrement, see, and then return the state, right? And then I have to just change it in the cart, right? Because if you remember, we are adding this quantity over here. Like what is the quantity of how many books I want, right? So I want multiple of them. So since I'm doing decrement, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a map. So I'll just say state.cart, right? Because I have to increment the value of the quantity. State.map, state.cart dot map. Whenever you want to access anything into the reducer, you have to use it using state.cart. Like basically when you want to use a state variable. So in the context, the cart is a state variable, right? So when you want to use a state, so that time you have to use state.cart.map. And then this will have a product, right? So if you say, let's say if the product.id is equal to the payload, right? Y equal to the payload. So if I go to the cart page, right, or horizontal, whatever I've written, right. In the payload, I'm passing the ID, right? In the payload, I'm passing the ID. So if the product ID is equal to payload, then only you increase the quantity. Then what you do is then you destruct your entire product, right? You take the quantity, right, and you increase the quantity by one. So you just do uh, product dot quantity, not state dot quantity. It would be product dot uh, quantity plus one. Okay. If not, then just return the product. That's it. Cool. So what I've done over here is I'm using a map, right? And I'm going over the entire array of objects, and then I'm saying to whichever product the ID is same, to whichever object the ID is same, you basically destruct, spread that product and increase the quantity by one. That's it. What you have to do. Okay, decrease the quantity by one, not increase, because it is decrement, right? For increment, it would be increased by one. So I'll just copy this. Just copy this uh, and change this from decrement to increment and increase the quantity by one. Right. Now what I have to do is come back to the horizontal card, right? And then in the horizontal card, now I have quantity also. So over here, after discount, I'll add quantity also. QUANTITY quantity, right? And over here, instead of the number one, I will just put the quantity. But whatever is the quantity, just show the quantity. Okay. So initially, the quantity will always be one because in the cart reducer, we have already done that. Then the more you click on it, the more it will keep on working. So now if you go back over here, if I come over here, if I add the product, if I click on here, it does not show the quantity. Okay, let's see quantity. Okay, quantity should show the quantity. Quantity. Okay. Let's refresh this again. If I go back over here now, if I click on add to cart, it is not showing the quantity. Let's inspect this. Where did the quantity go? Okay, so the quantity is not coming. Let me check it. Okay. So to do that, what we are going to do is whenever we click on any product in the cart.js, basically let's just console log the cart. Console.log the cart. Log the cart. I think this should come from the cart itself. The quantity cart product. Okay, let's check it. So if you go back and then if I refresh it, if I go to console, if I click on add to cart, it basically gives all of these things, and the quantity is there. QUANTITY quantity is there. So if the quantity is there, then in the horizontal product, why is it not working? Quantity. Oh, I didn't write quantity over there. I wrote quantity. Quantity. Okay. I made a blunder of the spelling mistake. So, okay, so this would be quantity, not quantity. Everywhere it should be quantity. Okay, so see, these silly mistakes may happen. It happens a lot with me. You can see me as an example, right? Instead of quantity, I wrote quantity. Okay. If I click on add to cart, now the quantity is there. If I click on plus, so if you see the quantity is increasing, right? If I click on minus, the quantity is decreasing. But there is one more problem. If I do this thing, then the quantity becomes -1 also, right? So I have to stop where the quantity is 1. So what I'll do here is in the product horizontal card, right? I just have to write a very simple thing that this negative button, okay, this button of minus should be disabled, right? Should be disabled if the quantity is 1. So over here I'll just say disabled. Disabled is equal to when the quantity is equal to 1, just be disabled. Okay, the minus sign, the minus button. Okay, so now if you go back, and then if I refresh this, and then if I click on add to cart, now the quantity is 1 and I can't reduce it by beyond 1, right? I can't go 0, -1, but I can keep on increasing it. If you see, then this becomes visible. Now if you see, if I click over here, the moment it becomes less than 1, this is disabled. See, the now if I click on 1, it becomes enabled. Okay, so the quantity is being decreasing and increasing also. Okay, cool. That's it. Okay, so now we can add multiple components like this. So if I go back and then if I add this thing now, so there is now see individual I can increase this thing and individual I can increase this thing also, right? This does not have an effect on this thing. Okay, cool. So yeah, any questions, any doubt, anyone? Because yeah, that's it. As an assignment, what you can do is you can basically add this what you say this price component. It is not difficult. It is very simple, right? You will have all the price quantity and you will have the price also. Just have to multiply the price with the quantity. That's it and nothing else. And you'll have everything. Cool. That's it from this thing, right? I'll again post the contest in the chat, right? Again, post the contest in the chat. You can basically appear for this contest. Share this contest with your friends as well, so that they can basically also take a part in this contest and you know get to know the interview questions, whatever there is, whatever they are, right? So we did a lot of good things today, right? So we basically created this product listing page. It looks good, right? And then in the cart, we created this cart also where the item is added to cart. I want you to create a product. I want to create a final price component because that will take a while, right? It will take at least 40 to 45 minutes because there is no component for that thing. Okay, so that's it from my side, right? Again, I'll put my. I think you might be having my LinkedIn also, right? So if you want to have a word with me, connect with me, you can connect with me. you can put questions. I'll be very happy to do that. Okay. So see Vivek, so there is a question from Vivek Dubey. It says on increasing the quantity, whether it should change the cart item. So see, generally on increasing the quantity, it should not change the cart item. Okay, because you have only two items in the cart, and that items quantity you are increasing, right? You are ordering that number of item multiple times, so it should not increase your cart items. So cart items are the big items which you have. Like I have shoes, I have something like that, right? So that should not change your number of items that are there in the cart. The quantity is different thing and the number of items are different thing, right? Quantity is the quantity of one single product, right? And the cart items are the number of items that are there in the cart. Got it? Okay, good question, Vivek. That was a good question. Any other question, anyone? See, feel free to ask. Okay, now this is a good platform. No one knows you. You can ask any question, right? Even if you feel एकदम silly question, you पूछ सकते हो. ठीक है. कोई 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 हर्ज नहीं कि पूछ नहीं सकते हो क्वेश्चन को. आराम से पूछ सकते हो यार, क्योंकि अब तो कोई देख ही नहीं सकता ना आप लोगों को. तो जो पूछना है पूछ लो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी. Do you have any questions? If we have so many components, only one component has to be enabled to view. Can we do that? Yes, you can do that, Yashwant. Even if you have 100 components, you can do that. See, we also have three components. We have a nav bar. Okay, we have product horizontal, vertical, right? In the home page, I'm only showing product vertical and the nav bar. I'm not showing product horizontal, right? In the cart also, I'm just showing product horizontal and the nav bar. I'm not showing product vertical. In the same way, you can have a lot of components. You'll have a component for filter and all the things also. So that it's not important to show all the components. You can show one component also. There's a question from Vivek Tadpatri. Are we using Redux to store cart data? No. We're not using Redux, right? I'm using Context API. Okay. What is advanced topics in React? Okay, that's a good question. Advanced topic in React basically are the React router DOM that we did, right? Use navigate and all the things, and router DOMs, and what else are the advanced? So yeah, React router DOM is one of the advanced topic. Yeah, and then authentication is one of the advanced topic. How do you authenticate a user in React? How do you authorize a user in React, right? Authentication and authorization are two different things. How do you authenticate? How do you authorize a user in React? These are also advanced things, right? Takes a while for you to understand because you have to handle your cookies and local storage, something like that also. Okay. See, any other questions? Anyone? Can you get okay? My GitHub. अरे देगा क्यों नहीं देगा? So, okay, here is my GitHub. Okay, I have my GitHub. ठीक है, LinkedIn भी आखिरी बार डाल ही देता हूँ. Here is my LinkedIn. Here is a contest. You can't appear for this contest. Okay. All the things I've added my GitHub, I've added this, all the things also. You like my beautiful UI library? Thank you, thank you. I also like it a lot. I've took a lot of time in making it. Working on the responsiveness, I'll do the responsiveness also in time. See, if I have a lot of projects, to be very honest, made on GitHub, and if you all want if you all want me to show you some project, I can show you some project also. Should I show you some projects? Yes, no. दिखाई देते हैं. So this is one of the project called as this React library. This is a video library. So if I go over here, okay, um, okay, my internet, please forgive me for that. Okay, so this is a video library, right? Uh, cool. So I basically log out, right? Logged out successfully. Okay. Now, now if I basically, let's say if I want to say, let's say if I want to like a video, okay, let's say if I open this thing and then I want to like the video. So if I click on like, it will first basically ask me to log in because I've not logged in. So I will basically click on login with test credentials, right? And then it will show logged in successfully. And then I can basically like this video, right? And then save it to watch later. Now, Yashwan, the question that you were asking, if you click on will it create a component? So if I click on add to playlist, it creates this component, right, and blurs the behind one. This is basically a modal, a component that I've created. I enclose this and come back over here. Now, if I go to this liked one, it shows me this thing. If I go to watch later, it shows me this thing, right? So there are a lot of projects that I've actually made. Let's add this to watch later, this to watch later also. And then if I go to watch later, I'll get all of these things. History, I'll get this watch video, right? I can clear everything, right? I can basically clear the history also. So the history is cleared also. So this is one of the projects I've made with React, okay? And uh, this is one of my best projects that I've made till date, I believe. That if even if I want to search something, there is something called as debound that I've implemented. Let's say if I just write for top, right? So once I've written and everything, then only it will work. See, I'm keeping on typing, nothing is coming. The moment I leave it, then only it will say no videos found matching the result. So basically, this is called as debouncing. Like it's not calling the API again and again. What have I used for auth? So for auth, I've used JWT. So JWT basically means JSON Web Token that I've used for authentication, right? Cool. One of the other projects that I really like that I've made actually is this one, this Right Fit e-commerce React app. This is a complete app which has payment and payment as well in it. So when you click on payment, it will basically tell you to do the Razor Pay payment. Okay. So again, there is authentication involved in this also. If I click on logout and then try to click on wishlist over here, it will basically ask me to log in. So if I click on login, right? If you see it takes me to this thing, wishlist is empty, right? If I click on add, so first let me show you the home page. So this is the home page, a very beautiful design. Click on men's, it will only take me to men's, right? I can click on add to cart, right? If I click on all, and then there is these filters also that I can apply, right? I can change price low to high and everything. Now if I go to cart, right, I can place an order. So it will ask me to add address. If I add address, now I can add thing or add dummy value also. So I'll add dummy address, right? So I can select this address and then click on proceed to checkout. And then if I click on checkout, then it will basically do the Razor payment, right, in test mode. So let me add a dummy number, right? There's no need to add anything. So I'll a dummy email also, pp@gmail.com. Okay. Enter 10-digit valid number 9822222220. Okay. So these are some dummy details, right? And then let's say what should I choose? Take UPI, right? So in the UPI, I can basically just add pp@ OK access, and let's say a lot of pp. Then if I click on pay now, then basically it will say order placed successfully. So these are some test mode and then continue shopping. So this is how it works. And if you see the card is cleared and everything is cleared, great, cool. So this is one of the projects I really like. You can see all where can I get to learn, where can I get the code to learn. So all the code is on my GitHub, right? You go on to GitHub and you'll find everything, right? You'll find all the things, right? Yes, Prem Chaudhary, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and put your doubt on LinkedIn. Whenever I get the time, I'll basically show you all the. I'll help you out. Okay, Prem Chaudhary. See, I'm there to help you, right? No matter what, I will try my best. Even if I do not know something, I'll read it, research it, and then help you also. Okay. So yeah, that's it, guys. Does anyone has any questions? If no, then I will basically end the class. Okay, Baluram. So I would have really liked you to contribute to the project, but this working for someone else. So if you want to do something, you can clone the repository, and just add anything to it, and then you can just share it with me also. I will basically love to see what you have done to my project also. But since I'm making it for someone, I can't allow you. But surely we can do this thing also, right? If you all are interested, then we can make one project together, right? And a lot of people can contribute to this. So okay, so we can do this one thing. So if you all are interested in making a project, just ping me on LinkedIn, right? We'll create a group on Discord or Telegram, something like that. Not Telegram, Discord. Telegram में number चाहिए होता, Discord में number नहीं चाहिए होता. So we'll create a group on Discord and then we can work on one common project. And I promise you that I will do this. Just ping me on LinkedIn if you want, if you're interested in making one project together where a lot of people can contribute. So this will be this one project, you can show it to your recruiters also that you are contributing in one of the projects. So I'm basically planning to make something called as an LMS, right? Learning Management System. Okay. So that is a very complicated project, the learning management system, and it should be an end-to-end project. So I have a plan in mind. So if you are willing, just ping me on LinkedIn. I'll create a Discord group and then we can start working on that project. We can also have a Google Meet, something like that, and we can do that also, right? And obviously I won't charge you anything because it would be completely, you're doing it out of your free will and I'm doing it out of my free will, and we will make the project together. So something to showcase for you and for me also, that I did it with my students, a moment for me also. Okay, so yeah, that's it from my side. uh, Signing off, guys. I hope you have my LinkedIn. If not, ढूंढ लो यार, अब मैं वापस नहीं डालूंगा. Okay, I will see you. Bye bye. uh, can can I end this? Okay. I hope you all can see me. व्हाट्सएप नंबर तो नहीं मिलेगा. व्हाट्सएप नंबर चाहिए. लिंक्डइन पे मैसेज करो, लिंक्डइन पे बात करते हैं. ठीक है, व्हाट्सएप नंबर. ओके या बाय एवरीवन. बाय बाय. हेलो अरिजीत सिंह. बाय यशवंत. गुड नाइट. बाय प्रेम.